7-13. Go to sixringsbaseball.com or call 985-206-9096. Learn the game to love the game.
When it comes to ending cancer, we push forward, always working together for you. That's why our cancer experts at Ochsner have clinically integrated with MD Anderson Cancer Center. This means advanced cancer care, including access to life-saving clinical trials and integrating care to treat the whole you. Introducing Ochsner MD Anderson Cancer Center. Long live you.
Electricity is all around us, and our families depend on it. Every day is sparked by the power of a cold drink or a warm meal, a movie night, and a comforting light at the end of a dark hallway. From sunrise to sunset, playtime to bedtime, our team is ready to take care of your electrical needs. Even in the case of an after-hours emergency, the light in your life shines brighter with Mr. Electric.
I'm Christine Lisi. This just in from ESPN's Jeremy Fowler. Chiefs running back Isaiah Pacheco expected to miss 6 to 8 weeks with a fibula injury. He'll be put on injured reserve but does plan to return this season. Carolina's benching former number 1 overall pick quarterback Bryce Young and turning to veteran Andy Dalton. Young's 2-16 as the Panthers starter, 0 touchdowns, 3 picks in 2 starts this season for coach Dave Canales.
A lot of factors that go into it, for this decision, and ultimately it just kind of lands on my shoulders to be able to make the best decision for our group, to give us our best chance to win this week. And we focus on the weeks. We focus on the challenge at hand, and we feel like Andy gives us our best chance to meet the challenge.
Young will back up Dalton Sunday in Vegas. Dolphins quarterback Tua Tagovailoa won't be placed on IR, at least not until more information is available on his latest concussion. According to coach Mike McDaniel, Miami is signing QB Tyler Huntley off the Ravens practice squad. Texas quarterback Quinn Ewers' abdominal injury questionable Saturday versus Louisiana Monroe. Arch Manning gets the start if Ewers can't go.
Why pay more for a great shave? Choose Barbasol, America's #1 brand of shaving cream. Barbasol's thick and rich lather gives you a close, comfortable shave for just half the price of gels. Barbasol.
Matt Moscona.
I'm very important.
After further review.
Say it one more time.
After further review with Matt Moscona.
And here we go.
Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge studio.
Let's ride!
And off we go. Welcome aboard. Glad you're with us. AFR presented by Relief Windows. I'm Matt.
Love you, Matt.
Paul O'Neill.
They're chanting Paul O'Neill's name.
So, and a Mr. Toby Tom play. All right, we're here. Glad you are as well. Get out there and make it a good one. Tigers win. Saints win. We got a ton to do, so let's get it going as we do every single day.
It's time to pop the top on another edition of AFR with Bud Light. Drink easy.
Waiting on the snap. Here it comes. Placement is down. The kick is up. Doesn't have a lot of distance, but this one is no good, and LSU will get out of Columbia with the win on a field goal wide right off the foot of Herrera. The 49-yarder does not go, and LSU will sneak out of the Palmetto State with a 3-point victory, 36-33.
As you heard it on the LSU Sports Radio Network, Chris Blair there on the call. The kick was no good, and LSU does survive 36-33. I want to start by being abundantly clear that I understand most people, if you're an LSU fan after that game, you didn't feel great about the win. I understand that. It's a symptom of being a fan. You try to live in the moment. You try to appreciate a win in the moment, but you can't help but extrapolate, pull back 10,000-foot view and say, what does this mean moving forward? So I get it. Saturday was ugly. What I will tell you, though, is that there is an undeniable reality. Every team in every sport in the history of ever, throughout the course of a season, when you finish that year, you'll look back and you'll say, we had our best game and our worst game. That's just objective fact. Every team is going to play their best game and their worst game at some point throughout a season. Your hope, as a fan, as a coach, as a player, whatever, your hope that your worst game comes against an inferior opponent and you manage to win. For example, in 2022, I would submit LSU's worst game was probably that 11 a.m. Tennessee game. Remember that? When LSU got the holy hell kicked out of it at 11 a.m., started with muffing the opening kickoff of the game, and it never got better. You played your worst game against a really good team, and it did not go well. Similarly, that 2022 team probably played its best game, its most complete game of the year against Alabama, and they managed to win that game at home. That's kind of what you hope. You play your best game against your best competition. You play your worst game against a lesser team that you can beat anyway. My hope for this LSU team is that what we saw on Saturday, when LSU finishes up Thanksgiving weekend against Oklahoma, and it's all said and done, and we know whatever the postseason destination will be, my hope is we look back and say, man, remember that Saturday in September against South Carolina? Boy, worse this team looked all year. That's my hope. I don't know if that's the reality. That's my hope. Because, y'all, the list of bad was really long. When I sit there and I watch a game, I always have my notepad. And as I'm charting the game, I have two columns at the top of the page. One's good and one's bad. Basically, it's notes to myself to say, here were the good plays that you want to talk about, here are the bad plays. I charted 6 good plays in the first half. Zy Alexander's interception, your red zone defense, which forced a field goal on the second possession, or the third possession, excuse me. Caden Durham's touchdown run was awesome. You forced a fumble. The Kyron Lacey touchdown, and you had a big sack as well in the first half. Here's my list of bad. Literally the first play of the game, Harold Perkins missed a tackle. Talked all week about how bad of a quarterback Lenora Sellers is. You realize, y'all, by the way, do you realize? And I understand it was Robbie Ashford in the second half. South Carolina attempted 4 passes in the second half. They were 2 for 4. First play of the game. They have no confidence in Lenora Sellers' ability to throw the ball downfield. What do? Hike, he just dumps it to the tight end on the right side of the line of scrimmage. Just boop. Harold Perkins, here he comes, like a flash, misses the tackle. Right there, make that tackle. It's 2nd and 10. They're running the football, probably into a brick wall because it's predictable. It's 3rd and long. Sellers has to throw it downfield. That's not going to go well. Instead, 17 yards because you can't tackle. You allowed a 7-play touchdown drive. After you went 3 and out, you muffed a punt. You shanked a punt, 39 yards. You had pass interference on Ashton Stamps. You had a pick 6, which was negated by a penalty. You had a holding call. You gave up a sack on 3rd and 10. You had 2 disconcerting signal penalties. Again, Gio Paez had a face mask called against him. You had 2 penalties on the same play, illegal formation and intentional grounding. You had a punt blocked, holding on DJ Chester. You allowed a 75-yard touchdown run. You had a bad snap on a PAT. That's all in the first half. And despite all of that bad, you went to half in a 1-score game. Boy, this reeked of the Missouri game a year ago. You remember that game in Columbia? Another 11 a.m. game. You were atrocious. Found yourself down early. You got a game-changing play when Harold Perkins came up with an interception. You scored before half, and you managed to fight your way back into the game, and you wound up winning a road game in the SEC. Very similar. There was some good. You can't win a game without there being some good. You rallied from down 17 on the road. That objectively, big picture, is a very good thing. You were down 17. You could have packed it in. You didn't. You rallied and you won the game. How about Garrett Nussmeier? Garrett Nussmeier, after LSU had 7 yards of offense, 7 yards of offense in the first quarter. Nussmeier rallied to have not only a fantastic day, but after he threw an absolutely atrocious interception in the fourth quarter, after you came away with a huge play, a fumble that allowed you to take over 1st and 10 at the South Carolina 12-yard line when you were down 4. On 3rd and 11, Garrett Nussmeier throws an inexplicable interception. The mistake that we all have feared that Nuss has deep within him somewhere. Now, the pick six came back because that probably would have iced the game. But the idiot defensive end decided, I'm going to go take a cheap shot on the quarterback. Idiot, you cost your team the game. Anyway, after that hideous interception, Garrett Nussmeier comes right back and leads you on the game-winning touchdown drive. And that drive was something to behold, man. You got the ball with 3:46 on your own 41. Caden Durham for 10 yards. On 3rd and 6, Durham got you 3 yards. You had to go for it on 4th and 3. Those idiots jumped off sides. Gave you a first down. I mean, like, all the South Carolina people complaining about the refs. Your team is terrible. Your team is terrible and undisciplined. That's why you lost that game. You're poorly coached and undisciplined. Kyron Lacey with a beautiful catch on 1st down. They were offsides again on a 2nd down. Gives you 2nd and 2. I mean, right down the field. Ultimately, Josh Williams would score on the 3rd and 2 play after the interception. I mean, that was fantastic to see. And your defense got the stop. Caden Durham. Shouldn't have taken me 8 minutes into this to talk about Caden Durham. I was doing some PFF digging. I was waiting for this number, and I tweeted it for those that might have missed it. Caden Durham is exactly what you were missing. Remember what Brian Kelly said last week before the South Carolina game? Here, remember, this is what Brian Kelly said about the running backs before the South Carolina game.
Let me be clear. There are times you have to run the ball with extra hats, right? The guy that's the running back gets a scholarship, and he's got to make a guy miss here, sooner or later, too. So I don't want to paint the picture that we're never going to run the box with 7 guys.
Caden Durham was the guy who finally made somebody miss, finally broke a tackle. I shared this on Twitter from Pro Football Focus. Caden Durham, 11 rushes, 98 yards, 50, more than half of Caden Durham's yardage came after contact. An average of 4.55 yards after contact. He was incredible. And you might have finally found the guy you were looking for. Hat tip to Aaron Anderson, 5 catches, 96 yards. It wasn't just 5 for 96. They were big. First drive on that 3rd and 6. Remember, he caught the ball, reached for the sticks, got you 6 yards. A 23-yarder before half when you scored before half. 44 yards. That was after a false start in the 3rd quarter that put you behind the sticks. He came up with a 44-yarder over the middle. 3rd and 7 later in the second half, he got you 16 yards. They were big catches for Aaron Anderson. How about Braden Swinson, SEC Defensive Lineman of the Week, 3 sacks. Your defense created havoc throughout the day. 5 sacks, 9 TFLs, 4 forced fumbles. You weren't good defensively, per se, but you did create havoc. Y'all, I get it. It was a poorly played game. It was a poorly played game by both teams. Those were 2 undisciplined teams that combined for more than 20 penalties, 200 yards in penalties, turnovers. LSU threw 2 pick sixes that came off the board. You botched a PAT attempt. They missed a field goal that would have tied it. I mean, it was a terribly played ball game. Those were two very poor. Those two teams executed very poorly on Saturday. Your run fits allowed a 75-yard and a 66-yard touchdown. I mean, there's nothing. You can't wipe away all that bad. But like your mom always used to say, you're going to learn a lesson the hard way. LSU managed to learn this lesson about being ready to play on the road in the SEC, and they won and mathematically kept everything alive. I get it, y'all. This team may not be able to overcome its personnel deficiencies. But because you won that game, your possibilities still exist. Remember, last year, you lost 2 games in September. That Ole Miss loss, the 55-49, was in September. You turned the calendar to October already with 2 losses. Now, you've at least mathematically kept yourself alive. Because UCLA's coming in, they just got blown out at home by Indiana, by the way. Then you're going to play South Alabama. You're going to win the next 2 weeks. You're hopefully going to keep improving. You're going to have an open date to get healthy. And then hopefully Tiger Stadium is at full throat, bat bleep crazy when Ole Miss comes in here and you take your swing. How hard is it to go win on the road in the SEC? Ask South Carolina just this weekend. Ask Georgia going to Kentucky. You'll have a chance to take your swing. I'm not saying it's going to go great, but one thing that's also true about Brian Kelly's teams that we've seen the last 2 years, they improve as the season goes along. That same team that looked so bad against Florida State in the opener against the Dome, is the same team that beat Alabama in Tiger Stadium in November. Teams can improve. I think this one will as well. What is their ceiling? I don't know. Probably lower than I thought at the beginning of the season. I still don't think they're good enough to overcome a lot of their personnel deficiencies. But they're going to put it together at some point this season and play their best game. And when they do, I hope it's in one of the biggest games. It allows this team to keep playing for meaningful things as they go along. So you won the game. You got a lot to fix. But at least you're going to learn the lessons of Saturday coming off a win as opposed to what happened in the season opener against USC. All right, it's After Further Review. Show open brought to you by Bud Light. Drink easy in Louisiana with the great taste of Bud Light, the official beer of AFR, the official beer of the Tigers. Make sure if you're shopping, look for the aluminum bottles and cans. The LSU Bud Light cans and aluminum bottles are available at retailers all over, celebrating 100 years of Tiger Stadium. Drink easy with the great taste of Bud Light. All right, it's After Further Review. My goodness, the New Orleans Saints. Boy, do I have a lot to say about that. We're getting to it next.
AFR.
AFR is brought to you by Clegg's Nursery with 4 locations in the greater Baton Rouge area. Now that the storm has come and gone, y'all, if you're still going through a little bit of cleanup or you're just ready to go get back out in your garden to just plant something, getting ready for fall as it continues to roll through, it is a great opportunity to get by Clegg's Nursery. Y'all, all of the fall decor is there. Pumpkins, hay bales, squash, gourds. It is time to decorate. It is time to plant your fall garden. It is time to plant your fruit trees. A little early for trees and shrubs. We'll get there. Maybe middle, end of October. But I'll tell you when their inventory is there and it's time to go. But y'all, even though fall flowers are still a few weeks out, it is a great time right now to get by and see our friends over at Clegg's Nursery. You can always check out their Facebook page. They do a great job of updating their inventory when it's there. You want to go see the fall displays. They've got them there at the Facebook page as well if you want to go check it out with all the pumpkins and everything. It's a great time to get by and experience our friends over at Clegg's Nursery.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
The best kept secret in town is out. Discover Tallulah at the Renaissance Hotel on Bluebonnet.
The Windsor Senior Living Community in Mandeville, Louisiana is a beautiful, vibrant apartment community geared toward seniors. They are nestled right in the heart of Mandeville, where seniors live a more carefree lifestyle in spacious apartments with the peace of mind that comes from having a little extra help. Call the Windsor at 985-624-8040 to schedule a lunch and tour. Come see how the Windsor can be your passport to peace of mind.
Breck teamed up to reimagine your parks, and you imagined big. With your help, we went to work, creating 12 beautiful community parks across the parish. A family-sized water park, miles and miles of trails, and parks just for your dogs. There are more places to splash, to explore, to run wild, and even soar. You imagined, we delivered. Gold. Breck, your #1 park system in the nation.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary, for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
Hey, it's Matt Moscona. For years, you've heard me tell you about Insurance Network of Louisiana, helping you find better coverage for less money. But it's not just for your home and auto. They also offer commercial property. So, retail stores, professional offices like doctors, dentists, attorneys, clothing boutiques. Insurance Network of Louisiana can find you better coverage for less money. They service the entire state of Louisiana, and they're local. So call today at 293-0450 or lainsurance.net.
for the review. Presented by Relief Windows. Windows, doors, siding, and oh yeah, they also do interior shutters.
Can I be greedy?
Yes, you can.
Give me something up top against the rookie.
That being Kalen Carson.
That's exactly right.
Saints break the huddle. Carson is on the far side, has Shaheed in front of him. Under center is Carr. Play action to Jamal Williams. He's looking deep, and he's throwing deep, and he's throwing for Shaheed. Shaheed makes the catch. 10, 5, Goose. See you later. 5. No flags. 70 yards. You can be greedy, my friend, because it makes for a great touchdown.
Oh, man, I love this game.
Deuce called it, but Mike Hoss on the call there, New Orleans Saints Radio Network. That was Shaheed over the top. What a play it was. What a day it was for the New Orleans Saints. My goodness, y'all. I have a lot of notes here that I want to get into for the game, but I thought I was going to do this at some point today, but I just feel motivated to do it right now. And I'm going to level with you very much. I have my notes. I'm going to talk about the game and the team and all that stuff here in a second. Saints beat the Cowboys 44-19. I was watching the Saints on Sunday, and I'm talking about I want to talk to you as Matt, the guy that was born at Lakeside Hospital, lived in New Orleans East and Lake Carmel. Sundays were church, Shoney's Breakfast Buffet Dome. One of my favorite gifts ever was my Dalton Hilliard 21 jersey, my little Dalton Hilliard starting lineup action figure. I mean, Dome Patrol poster on the bedroom wall. Like, you know him, like that Matt, okay? Not the guy who sits here from 3 to 6 every day and tries to give you objective takes, entertain, inform, whatever. Sometimes you agree, sometimes you don't. But the guy who tries to look at things objectively, put fandom aside. I want to talk to you like as Matt the fan. Yo, the last 2 weeks, I came to this realization on Sunday. The last 2 weeks are the first time I've actually had fun watching the New Orleans Saints since the Nola no call. I was in the Dome that day with my buddy Josh Innes. We were watching the Nola no call, and I'm not just saying it because of how the Nola no call game ended. It's not that. That whole season was a vibe. Remember, they were awesome. 13-3. They got the 1 seed. That's when Choppa style, it was sort of the rebirth of the Choppa style, the bike life, Teddy Bridgewater, the Superdome, the locker room dance parties afterwards. That whole season was just so much fun to watch as it all transpired. You know, they had the back-to-back-to-back 7-9 seasons. You wondered if it was done with Drew. 2017, they hit on the draft class. Boom. They're in the playoffs. The Minneapolis Miracle happens. As disappointing as it was, you felt like they were early. And then in 2018, it came to this crescendo, and they were so good again. And it felt like they were going to go win the Super Bowl. And they didn't. And after that, as a fan, all right, I'm talking to you just as a fan, all right? As a fan, 2019 and 2020 for me, as a fan, were miserable. There was so much angst and anxiety because we all knew that was it for Drew. Like, the window was closed. We all thought 2019 was going to be the last season. And, of course, it ended in the postseason against Minnesota. Kyle Rudolph, the push-off. We all saw it. And then, remember, COVID and everything, and then Breeze made the Instagram post that he was going to run it back for one more year, and then 20 went the way it did. And, you know, you had a home playoff game. You beat the Bears. Then you played the Bucs, who you'd beaten twice that year, and then you lose. I'll never forget Jared Cook for that, ever. For the fumble. And then the last 3 seasons, when you've missed the playoffs back-to-back-to-back years, you were just mid, and it just wasn't a lot of fun. I mean, it was win one, lose one, good and bad, step forward, step back. It just, you weren't a contender, and you knew you weren't a contender. But the last 2 weeks watching this team has been so much fun. And I don't know what, listen, it's 2 games. It's 2 games. I mean, that's been a hell of a 2 games. And we're going to talk about that. But this is just the most fun that I've had watching this team. Maybe it's the first time I've had fun watching this team since 2018. Through 2 games, y'all, the Saints have scored 91 points. 47-44. I'm not good at math, but they tell me that's 91. You've probably seen this statistic, but the only team since the NFL-AFL merger, the only team to score more points through the first 2 games of a season were the 2009 New Orleans Saints. I'm not sitting here telling you these Saints are going to win the Super Bowl. What I am telling you is it's super rare for any NFL team to do what this team has done. And you could have, and some tried after the season opener, to say, it's Carolina, let's see how you fare against a good opponent. Well, if that was your objection, you don't have a leg to stand on. Because the Dallas Cowboys are a really good defense. I'll remind you that the Dallas Cowboys a year ago were 5th in the NFL in total defense and 5th in the NFL in scoring defense. And over the course of those 4 quarters, Sunday in Dallas, the Cowboys did not make a stop. Let me say that again slowly. Over the course of that game, the Dallas Cowboys did not stop the New Orleans Saints first-team offense one time. Never. 0. Through 2 games, the New Orleans Saints first offense with Derek Carr under center have had 15 possessions, and they have gotten points on all 15 possessions. We have a piece up at louisianasports.net right now if you'd like to go read it. Our buddy Ross Jackson, who does an awesome job leading our Saints coverage. He's got a piece up right now. I would highly recommend you go check it out. It's sort of an inside the numbers piece for the New Orleans Saints and what they've been able to do so far through this blazing start. And it's just a mouthful. From the 91 points like we just discussed, I mean, there's so much more. 39. Derek Carr threw 33 passes in his debut a year ago. First game a year ago, he threw 33. He's thrown 39 through 2 games. He's completed 30 of his 39 passes. He leads the NFL with a 76.5 completion percentage and 142.4 passer rating. It's incredible. We focus so much on the offense. How about the defense? They've got 5 takeaways, 4 interceptions. That's second in the NFL only to Green Bay. I mean, I could run through it, but you can go read it at louisianasports.net. It's an incredible list of superlatives. Go read it. I'll tell you, there's 2 things in particular. 2 things, in a week ago after they beat Carolina 47, the hell was that final? 47-10? Was that it? 47-10? You lose count. Dennis Allen said after the game, look, when you win a game like that, you still have to be self-critical and go look at the film and say, okay, where were the things we could have done better? And I'll tell you, in this game, there's a few things. It's easy to ignore. Remember, winning masks deficiencies and magnifies, and losing magnifies them. You missed a PAT. That's inexcusable. And Blake Grupe was awesome last week. Made all 4 field goal attempts, including 2 from 50+. He missed a PAT. You cannot miss a PAT in the NFL. CeeDee Lamb, 65-yarder. I mean, Tyrann Mathieu was coming over from his safety spot. He just overran the play, allowed. Now, Tyrann made up for it with incredible. Tyrann was incredible. But that was one of those plays where you can't let anybody, let alone CeeDee Lamb, get upfield for a 65-yard touchdown. Derek Carr threw an interception. I mean, Chris Olave was open over the middle. You got to hit that pass. He threw it wide. Olave tipped it right into the hand of a defender. Now, you came right back with it. You got the turnover right back because that's how opportunistic and awesome this team has been and how this start to the season has gone. But those are the types of things I'm sure Dennis Allen, when he talks to his team, are going to focus on. But y'all, ultimately, what this comes down to, and I know a lot of people have asked, Matt, you've been so critical of Derek Carr. Yes, I have. I think, as I've said a million times, I think Derek Carr's a great man, great husband, great father, all those things. But as an NFL quarterback, we have a 10-year sample size to suggest what he is. This is his 11th year in the NFL, and he's a mid-tier quarterback. That's what he has been for a decade in the National Football League. And I don't think 2 games changes that. What I will say, undeniably, is that Klint Kubiak has very clearly found an unlock that matches Derek Carr and Alvin Kamara's skill set. We talked a lot in this offseason about if Kamara should have gotten a contract extension. And the answer was unequivocally no. Because we have seen a declining player for the last 3 years. That's objective. That's not my opinion. Alvin Kamara has declined in production the last 3 years, and he hasn't stayed healthy. You don't give a contract extension to that player. But in this offense, with the wide zone schemes, getting Kamara to the perimeter has been amazing. Look, Dennis Allen, after the game, talked about Kamara and sort of in defense of Kamara these last 3 years. Give a listen.
I never felt like he was an aging running back. I felt like he was still an explosive player, and I think we're utilizing him in a way that allows him to, be effective. I think he's still one of those guys that if you create some space and he's able to operate in space, I think he's pretty good. But yeah, I thought he ran the ball well, and I thought caught the ball well out of the backfield.
After 2020, when Kamara averaged 5 yards a carry the last 3 years, 3.7, 4.0, 3.9. This year, 5.7. He was a declining player the last 3 years. Objectively. But now you've got him in a scheme where he's able to show off. So, you're 2 games in. Let me see what he looks like through 17 weeks. But clearly, this version of Alvin Kamara is incredible. Jamal Williams is getting off in this offense as well. Everybody is. The thing we talked about throughout this offseason, remember, we had Ross Jackson here every day during Saints training camp. And consistently, the conversation we had with Ross were about how the offensive line was struggling after losing 3 starters. You didn't have great depth at receiver after Olave and Shaheed. Would it be Cedric Wilson? Would it be Bub Means? Would it be A.T. Perry? I mean, this was the conversation we had should the Saints trade for Brandon Ayuk? Remember, these were the conversations we were having 6 weeks ago, y'all. Or 4 weeks ago. And the thing that Ross said on this show that resonated with me then, and I'm probably going to reference it 100 times to the end of the season, is, well, the Saints went and invested in free agency on the defensive side. Chase Young, Willie Gay. And we sat here and asked, why didn't you go invest on the offensive line or at receiver? The point Ross made was maybe they feel like their investment was in Kubiak. They feel like their talent, their skill offensively is good enough. What they needed was a new play caller, was a new strategy. And through 2 weeks, it is hard to argue against that at all because what they are doing looks dramatically different and the results clearly are dramatically different. The challenges are coming, but on the road at Dallas, where they've been sensational at home, and you beat them 44-19, what hill can't this team climb if they're playing like that? I get it. It's 2 games. It's a small sample. The other big question is how teams adjust, because that's part of life in the NFL, really in all professional sports. It's like in baseball. You see it all the time. Pitchers come in. They have great success early. Once hitters learn their tendencies, they adjust. Well, pitchers then have to adjust how they pitch to certain hitters. It's no different. It's no different here. You've got 2 weeks of game film now that you've shown the NFL what you're trying to do. How do these defensive coordinators start to scheme New Orleans to try to limit what this offense has been through 2 weeks? And that's going to be the cat and mouse game. And when someone adjusts, then Kubiak will have to adjust in turn. But you got to have a lot of confidence in his ability to do so because these early results are pretty awesome. So Saints win 44-19. They're 2-0. And y'all, like we talked about as far as the record, listen, I picked this team to win 6 games this year. It looks like I'm going to be dramatically wrong. Part of what we looked at, though, was can you be 4-3 through 7? Be 3-3 through your first 6. Beat Denver at home on that Thursday night. If you're there at 4-7 with your head above water, there's enough opportunity in those final 10 games to finish above 500, 9-8, 10-7, and win the division and go to the playoff, host a division game, host an opening round game as a division champ. Now you can start to think, all right, you got one nobody thought you were going to get. I mean, you were a touchdown dog on the road against Dallas. Don't give it back. You got one nobody thought you were going to get. Don't give it back. Don't rest on your laurels and play down in the level of competition later in the season. See how they do, man. Because Philly plays tonight against Atlanta. So next week, you're at home against the Eagles. And the Eagles are going to be traveling on a short week, and you're back at home, and you better believe the roof is going to come off of that place when this team gets back home. Go get another one. Don't give it back. Don't rest on your laurels. It's going to be fascinating to watch. But one thing is undeniable. I'll finish where I started. Isn't it fun watching this team again? I don't know that I could have said that now for the last 5 years. It's fun watching this team again. All right, it's after further review. I am, by the way, at the start of hour 3, going to go deep dive into Derek Carr, my opinion of Carr the first 2 weeks, because everybody's asking all the Emperor of Empty Yard stuff and everything like that. I mean, ain't nothing empty about anything that dude's done through 2 weeks. And I told y'all last week, and I'll say it again today. If you're going to criticize when things are bad, you have to be able to give praise when things are good. Did it last week because Carr was efficient and awesome, and clearly he was next level on Sunday against Dallas. We will absolutely give him the praise he deserves. I want to talk about some comps. What I think, because there are 2 comps. I'm going to get to this. I don't want to get ahead of myself. I'm going to get to this at the start of hour 3. There are 2 comps I have for what I think is happening with Derek Carr right now. We're going to get to that in hour number 3. Okay, quick break. We'll go around the SEC next. Stay here.
AFR.
AFR is brought to you by River City's 1 Hour Air, where they're always on time, or you don't pay a dime. 752-0001, 752-0001, or 1hourbr.com. If your AC isn't keeping up, call River City's 1 Hour Air. Remember, something I would always encourage you to do. Go read the reviews. I don't know there's a lot of companies that are going to beg you to go read reviews. But at River City's 1 Hour Air, they always encourage you to go read the reviews because they got more than double the amount of 5-star Google reviews of the next closest competitor. And I say that all the time because when you think of it in terms of this is a contractor, this is an HVAC company, that's not typically the line of business where you see people just flooding the internet with praise. But at River City's 1 Hour Air, they've done it right and done right by their customers for 40 years. That's why they're the best. Look for the big yellow vans and trucks with the giant clock on the side. 752-0001, 752-0001, where they're always on time or you don't pay a dime.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app is a smart way to manage your money and time. Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
There it is, the extra mile. On the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
It's no secret. The best oysters in Baton Rouge are at Jolie Pearl Oyster Bar. Enjoy mouth-watering South Louisiana flavor and oysters from all over the country. And don't forget our nightly drink specials. Jolie Pearl Oyster Bar, located in downtown Baton Rouge.
Jerry and Benny Payne began Central Plumbing Company out of their driveway in Tanglewood Subdivision. 50 years later and 4 generations down the road, we continue to serve Baton Rouge and the surrounding areas for all of their plumbing needs. Residential, commercial, industrial, or hospitality, Central Plumbing is here 24/7, 365.
We want to thank our customers, family, and friends for 50 years of success.
And looking forward to 50 more.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
for the review. Presented by Relief Windows. Windows, doors, siding, and oh yeah, they also do interior shutters.
Hey, congrats to Braden Swinson, LSU defensive end, was named the SEC Defensive Player of the Week. What an outing. 3 sacks, 5 tackles, 3 sacks, and a forced fumble for Braden Swinson. A huge part of that LSU defensive effort. And we talked a lot last week about Blake Baker's history the last couple of years against Missouri, whereas Blake Baker's last couple of years as Missouri defensive coordinator against South Carolina, where his teams the last 2 years combined for 8 sacks and 18 TFLs. Blake Baker has just done a really good job defensively of creating havoc against South Carolina. Did it again by the hardest. I mean, LSU in the second half really suffocated South Carolina. When I look at that second half, South Carolina's drive charts, they went 3 and out, punt, 3 and out, punt. LSU scored to take their first lead. And after LSU scored to take the first lead is when Carolina ripped off the 66-yarder on 3rd and 1. Oh, God. After that, you fumbled the snap, gave them a short field, held them to a field goal. 3 and out, you forced the fumble. 3 and out, they punted. And then, of course, the end of the game where, I mean, you forced, what did I say, 4 3 and outs? 1, 2, 3. 4 3 and outs and a forced fumble. I mean, the defense really, really stood up big in the second half. You dug yourself a gigantic hole, but a nice job there by Braden Swinson. Congrats to him. One of the things Brian Kelly was asked about Monday was the defensive changes. This is number 5, Muse. It was the defensive changes where they did shuffle the deck. We saw Paris Shan start on the defensive line. We saw Harold Perkins go to this I guess they really went 4-3. I think Kelly called it their Bronco front is what he called it. Instead of going with the star, they played Perkins at the weak side linebacker. You saw Deshaun Spears start at safety. Sage Ryan was in there at safety. So you did shuffle a bunch defensively there at the start of the game, and Brian Kelly was asked Monday if those defensive changes had their desired effect.
We're going to look at everything, and we're still in that process of evaluating everything, right, in terms of what we're coaching, how we're coaching it, what players need to be on the field in certain situations, what does our, offense look like in certain situations. I mean, all of that needs to be looked at carefully. I think we've done a deep dive on all of it, but I'm not ready to kind of publicly talk about what we're going to be doing moving forward.
I can certainly appreciate not wanting to give away any potential insider advantage, but it is something where Brian Kelly has been very forthcoming. I mean, with respect to trying to find the mix and match and find the right people, I mean, especially with injuries, he's talked about how they were going to replace Jacoby and Guillory, talked about the plan for Harold Perkins. What they do moving forward will be interesting. And I know there's this feeling like, okay, well, why didn't you know this already coming out of fall camp? And sometimes when you're talking about a freshman like Deshaun Spears increasing his role, you're getting a freshman like Ahmad Bro involved. Clearly at the cornerback position, you're still looking to improve, not just corner, but in the entire secondary. You're still looking to improve. And sometimes it's only going to reveal itself when you play games. And while I know I certainly wish they were further along, I think my thesis on this whole thing with the defense is you had to go portal year 1 just to get your numbers back. When you lost all those guys, you went portal again year 2 and missed. And so this year 3 is when you're really committing to going back to the young guys, recruiting, developing your high school players. Deshaun Spears, P.J. Woodland, Ahmad Bro. We're going to see Don McKinley come along. So they're committing to growing their younger guys. There's going to be growing pains. But this is something you probably would have loved to have seen year 1 or a year ago. But in essence, it's just going to take time. I know the patience is not something that fans have a lot of, and I don't blame you. But I am going to be interested to see how these young guys, especially defensively, maybe continue to grow as the season goes along. Just like you did year 1 on the offensive line by playing Campbell and Jones. You said, look, they're our best guys. We're going to take the lumps, the growing pains, I'm going to see how they might be able to improve. All right, it's After Further Review. We're brought to you by South Point Volkswagen, southpointvw.com. New and certified pre-owned in Baton Rouge and online, southpointvw.com, southpointvw.com. Red Tax sales events going on right now, y'all. There's always something great going on at South Point Volkswagen. So if you want to get a new vehicle, you want to save, they're the best. Remember, the great German engineering without the cost. The style, the feel, the performance of luxury without the cost. And manufactured right here in the good old US of A at their Chattanooga, Tennessee plant. So you're supporting American jobs still. And you're always going to get a great customer service experience because driving a Volkswagen is just more fun. Buying a Volkswagen is more fun. I've done it plenty. SouthPointVW.com. South Point Volkswagen. What's your direction? All right, let's do it. Let's go around the SEC.
Around the SEC, bringing you the biggest news from the nation's best conference. The Texas Longhorns.
Texas head coach Steve Sarkisian gave an update on his injured starting quarterback Quinn Ewers Monday. Ewers day-to-day with an abdominal strain. He's questionable for Saturday's game against ULM, injured in the first half against UTSA. Saturday did not return. Arch Manning replaced him, accounted for 5 touchdowns. I think Texas is going to be A-OK, but that's the update for now on Quinn Ewers.
The Florida Gators.
Speculation swirling about Billy Napier's future. There were reports that boosters met on Sunday. They've gathered together the money for a buyout. Does Florida make a move? For what it's worth, Billy Napier did meet with reporters on Monday. He was asked about all of this speculation, if he's had that conversation about his future.
Has there been any discussions or you've been told anything about your future?
No. None.
Do you feel like there's still a path to earn a 4th season if the team can get it together and
Yeah, 100%.
get on a roll?
100%.
Shout out to our guy Edgar, asking the tough questions. See if Napier has a future there in Gainesville. Doesn't look good after they got blasted at home by A&M and a backup quarterback.
The Georgia Bulldogs.
And Georgia offensive lineman Tate Ratledge likely out for the September 28th game at Alabama with leg injuries he suffered this past weekend. Ratledge is a third-year starter. First-team All-SEC a season ago at guard. Sustained a sprained MCL in the win over Kentucky Saturday. He was helped off the field, didn't return. Georgia has an open date this week before they go to Alabama. He was replaced by junior Micah Morris. Okay, there you have it. That is Around the SEC. It's After Further Review. Monday show is brought to you by Relief Windows. Windows, doors, siding. Oh, yeah? They do indoor shutters as well. It's Relief Windows and ReliefWindows.com. Check out those beautiful shutters if you haven't. If you're considering it, remember, Relief Windows. All right, it's After Further Review. We'll knock out our final break here of hour number 1. We'll come back what we learned every Thursday. Muse, Paulie, and I tell you the 3 things we're keeping an eye on for the upcoming football weekend. We come back on Monday, tell you how it went. So we'll do that. Scott Shanle in 15 minutes. Peter Burns in about 45 minutes from right now. We're glad you're here. It's AFR.
AFR.
AFR is brought to you by Action Industries. Still time, y'all. I've been telling y'all for a couple of weeks now, Action Industries is in recruitment mode because they're about to start 2 4 to 5 week turnarounds. So they need 100 to 125 people for these turnarounds. Again, 4 to 5 week turnarounds, working 7/12s, welders, pipe fitters, crane operators, boiler makers. If you're looking for work, they're looking for you. 2 ways you can apply. Of course, you can go to the website, actionindinc.com. That's Action Industries Incorporated. actionindinc.com. Or you can apply in person. So they got their office on Highway 30 in Geismar. Go into the office, ask for Zach. That's how you can apply in person. 4 to 5 week turnarounds. And the great news is they were awarded a capital project that's a year-long job, working 5 10s. It's going to be a 12-month-long project. I'll tell you more about that. Action Industries, proud partner of LSU Athletics.
Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram has back-to-school savings like $16,000 off 25 Ram 1500 trucks. We're open for business in our beautiful new showroom and taking $16,000 off. All new Bayou vehicles come with a complimentary extended warranty. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
It's no secret. The best oysters in Baton Rouge are at Jolie Pearl Oyster Bar. Enjoy mouth-watering South Louisiana flavor and oysters from all over the country. And don't forget our nightly drink specials. Jolie Pearl Oyster Bar, located in downtown Baton Rouge.
At Atmos Energy, our Smart Choice solutions help customers save energy and emissions with rebates up to $500 off high-efficiency natural gas appliances, smart thermostats, and weatherization upgrades. Together, we're fueling our energy future.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected. Supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team. And backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
Dylan Cruz here to tell you about Six Rings Baseball and Softball Camp. If you live on the North Shore and play ball, go to Six Rings Camps with former LSU assistant coach Dan Canaveri. His knowledge is second to none, and your child will improve and have fun doing it. Camps were held at Coquille Park and Six Rings Academy in Covington with 4 sessions over the summer. Full day and morning only sessions are available from ages 7 to 13. Go to sixringsbaseball.com or call 985-206-9096. Learn the game to love the game.
When it comes to ending cancer, we push forward, always working together for you. That's why our cancer experts at Ochsner have clinically integrated with MD Anderson Cancer Center. This means advanced cancer care, including access to life-saving clinical trials and integrating care to treat the whole you. Introducing Ochsner MD Anderson Cancer Center. Long live you.
Electricity is all around us, and our families depend on it. Every day is sparked by the power of a cold drink or a warm meal, a movie night, and a comforting light at the end of a dark hallway. From sunrise to sunset, playtime to bedtime, our team is ready to take care of your electrical needs, even in the case of an
After further review, presented by Relief Windows. Windows, doors, siding, and oh yeah, they also do interior shutters.
Wrapping up hour number 1. Glad you're hanging out with us here on this Monday edition, presented by Relief Windows. Scott Shanle, 10 minutes from right now, former Saint linebacker, what has gotten into these New Orleans Saints, was on that 2009 Super Bowl team. We'll ask him about the correlation. Peter Burns in 40 minutes from right now. Right now, though, let's do what we learned.
We watched. Now, let's review.
All right, Muse, kick us off.
All right, so...
Oh, the tail's short.
Yeah. Yeah, I just have to be better prepared. Actually set up to... Anyway, not important. What is important is we were watching Boston College and Mizzou. It was the only ranked-unranked matchup on Saturday. Thought it could provide for some fireworks, specifically maybe in Boston College's run game. That could not have been further from the truth. They got stonewalled all day by Missouri, only managing 49 yards on the ground. You look at the 27-21 point spread, think, oh, they still competed. Not really. Missouri in the middle of that game took control, 24 unanswered.
Stonewalled, huh, Muse?
Stonewalled from the second quarter all the way until the fourth.
What's on your mind?
Not as close as the final score might indicate in that one. So, that tipped Missouri.
I was watching the A&M Florida game, and as you mentioned, and around the SEC, the hot seat for Napier is hot as it can get. They played both Graham Mertz and DJ Lagway, but neither got much going. So Napier falls to 12-6 in Gainesville, including 12 losses in his last 15 games. He's now 10-6 at home in the Swamp. That's more losses in his 2 seasons than Spurrier and Urban Meyer had in their entire stint in Gainesville.
What a stat. Come on, we got to hustle. Patriots Seahawks, a Super Bowl rematch. 10 years in the making. It went to overtime, and the Seahawks exacted revenge. We don't know.
That's what I was trying to do, and now the board's screwing up on me.
The Seahawks won in overtime.
Justin Jefferson was on the precipice of making some history, and he did it just under the gun, man. We were watching him.
Crap.
We were watching him. We needed 4 catches to get to 400. I think he needed like 50 some odd yards or so to get to 6,000. He got both of them.
How about the 97-yarder?
97-yarder, 4 catches, 133 yards. So he's only the second player to get to 6,000 receiving yards in 62 games. And he's one of 3 players to get to 400 catches in that time as well. Michael Thomas, Odell Beckham, the other. Just been a great start for Jets.
I was watching Chiefs-Bengals, and it was pretty much the game we all wanted to see. Until the fourth quarter. Jamar Chase got a little testy with the officials. Ended up costing his team with a penalty. Chiefs were down to 4th and 16. Game was short. Pass interference gives them the first down. Mahomes does what he does, and Butker hits a game-winning field goal.
At least had the Chiefs in the points. I was keeping an eye on Green Bay with no Jordan Love. It went well. They beat the Colts 16-10. We got to go.
Yeah, well, this is good because mine's tonight. Can the Falcons not go 0-2? But I hope that they do.
I hope they do too. And everybody for the Eagles gets hurt.
Bears, Texans, Caleb Williams, C.J. Stroud. Not much offense for either team. Texans settled for 4 field goals. Caleb Williams was sacked twice after halftime. He was sacked 7 times total. Houston gets a win, 19-13.
But we got to push.
Some of us did.
Oh, you had a hook?
5.5.
Oh, no!
Yeah.
Muse!
It was a bad day yesterday.
Yes. Oh, Saturday was a bad day. It was a bad week.
It was
Phil
bad.
Steele had a brutal week.
It was bad.
Jimmy Ott's football Sunday was a bloodbath.
Yes,
it was not good at all. Oklahoma beat Tulane 34-19. We're thinking about maybe a look-ahead spot. They open up SEC play to the Sooners this week at home against Tennessee with their former quarterback Josh Heupel coming in, but no issues there against Tulane. All right, there you have it. That's what we learned. Well, now I got a quick break, y'all. We'll come back. We'll start hour number 2 coming up after Sports Center. We'll have our buddy Scott Shanle, former Saint linebacker here. Want to get his observations, what we've seen so far through 2 games with the New Orleans Saints. What a start it has been, as we mentioned, the most points scored by a team through 2 weeks since the NFL merger, behind only the 2009 New Orleans Saints, a team of which Scott Shanle was a part. So we'll talk about that when we continue. Scott Shanle next on AFR.
AFR.
Brought to you by Optimize, GeneratorPeople.com, GeneratorPeople.com, GeneratorPeople.com. So you never want to learn a lesson the hard way. My family did after Ida. That was finally our breaking point when we lost power for 7 days. After the storm, I was going to L.A. for LSU, UCLA. Erica and Drew were at home. We still hadn't gotten power back. She had to pack up, go stay at her parents' house for a while till we got power back. After that, we said never again. That's when we decided to install a Generac automatic home standby generator. Maybe with Francine, this was your push. Y'all, Optimize is the best. They've got physical locations, Lake Charles to Slidell and points in between. They will cover the entire 1012 corridor. They are our state's #1 Generac dealer. And they're the best because at Optimize, they do one thing. They only sell service installed Generac automatic home standby generators. If you're thinking about a generator, you want the Generator People. So go to GeneratorPeople.com. That's GeneratorPeople.com.
Bayou Ford has the new inventory to get you in a new Ford truck or SUV today. Or customize your next vehicle just the way you want it. All new Bayou Ford vehicles come with a 1 million mile powertrain warranty. The crew at Bayou Ford is going to do right by you.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app is a smart way to manage your money and time. Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
Breck teamed up to reimagine your parks, and you imagined big. With your help, we went to work, creating 12 beautiful community parks across the parish. A family-sized water park, miles and miles of trails, and parks just for your dogs. There are more places to splash, to explore, to run wild, and even soar. You imagined, we delivered. Gold. Breck, your #1 park system in the nation.
Hey, it's Matt Moscona. For years, you've heard me tell you about Insurance Network of Louisiana, helping you find better coverage for less money. But it's not just for your home and auto. They also offer commercial property. So retail stores, professional offices like doctors, dentists, attorneys, clothing boutiques. Insurance Network of Louisiana can find you better coverage for less money. They service the entire state of Louisiana, and they're local. So call today at 293-0450 or lainsurance.net.
Jerry and Benny Payne began Central Plumbing Company out of their driveway in Tanglewood subdivision. 50 years later and 4 generations down the road, we continue to serve Baton Rouge and the surrounding areas for all of their plumbing needs. Residential, commercial, industrial, or hospitality, Central Plumbing is here 24/7, 365.
We want to thank our customers, family, and friends for 50 years of success.
And looking forward to 50 more.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
This is SportsCenter.
I'm Christine Lisi. The Panthers benching quarterback Bryce Young and replacing him with Andy Dalton Sunday against the Raiders. Young, the top overall pick in the 2023 NFL Draft, 0 touchdowns, 3 interceptions in 2 starts this season. He's 2-16 as the starter in Carolina. There are 2 things that can come from the Panthers QB switch, says ESPN's Marcus Spears.
Bryce Young can benefit from being on the sideline and going through the day-to-day and watching a veteran prepare to play in games and making sure he's understanding how you go about not only the game day, but the week in preparation. And then the other thing is, if his confidence is shot, now you got Carolina in a situation where they have to decide what to do with a guy that they just took first overall 2 years ago.
Chiefs running back Isaiah Pacheco expected to miss 6 to 8 weeks with a fibula injury, reports ESPN's Jeremy Fowler. He does plan to return this season. Dolphins quarterback Tua Tagovailoa won't be placed on IR, at least not until more information is available on his latest concussion, according to coach Mike McDaniel. Miami is signing QB Tyler Huntley off the Ravens practice squad.
Hey, it's your resident Super Bowl champ, Chris Candy. Coming up Tuesday, Ravens, Bengals, Jags are all 0-2. I'll tell you which one of those teams I still believe will make the playoffs. It's Unsportsmanlike, 6 a.m. Eastern, right here on ESPN Radio, ESPN2, and ESPNU.
Matt Moscona.
I'm very important.
After further review.
Say it one more time.
After further review with Matt Moscona.
And here we go.
Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge studio.
Let's ride!
Hour 2, off we go. Welcome aboard. Glad you're with us, AFR, presented by Relief Windows. I'm Matt.
This is Shaq O'Neal, and I hate Matt.
Paul O'Neal.
They're chanting Paul O'Neal's name.
You so. And Mr. Toby Tomplate. All right, we're here. Glad you are as well. Get out there, make it a good one. Peter Burns, SEC Network, 30 minutes from right now. Break up the Saints, y'all, 2-0, and by a mile, the most impressive-looking 2-0 in the NFL this season. But still just 2-0. Long way to go over a 17-game regular season. Scott Shanle knows a lot about that, knows what it's like to start fast as well, to surpass expectations, and good enough to join us here on the show. Scott, we appreciate it, man. How are you?
Hey, I'm doing good.
All right, let me just start. What's your reaction to the way they've started?
Listen, I think a lot of people, you look around, whether it's local, national media, a lot of people expected this team to be a 9-8, 8-9 type team, and for them to start the season the way they did, there were probably a lot of people that felt like the Carolina Panthers game was a must-win just because of the last couple of years. There was a lot of probably negativity surrounding the head coach, the quarterback, all sorts of things. So to start off the home game, get the crowd into it, scoring points, and then carrying that over on the road against a good Dallas team, I just think that there's a lot of confidence in that locker room in the coaching staff meeting rooms, and hopefully it carries over again, because once that starts to snowball, you just start playing beyond your expectations.
It's Scott, my hand's in the air. I didn't expect much from this. I didn't even think they'd get to 500 this year. It's certainly completely outplaying that expectation right now. But there's two comps, and you're part of both of them, which is why I'm glad to have you today, aside from always glad to have you. But I know I saw you tweeted it, and a lot of people have noticed this, but since the merger, the only team through 2 weeks to score more points than these New Orleans Saints were your 2009 New Orleans Saints. Do you see any similarities between the two?
Yeah, absolutely. I think, listen, it's a small sample size. We all understand that it's 2 weeks. You're going to face a Philly team where you really haven't faced a team with a good running attack. Carolina's probably going to have the number one pick in the draft. Dallas's Ezekiel Elliott hasn't been good since 2020, 2021. I mean, they just don't have a good running game. And so now Philly's going to bring a different attack that I'm excited about seeing. Are there any weaknesses on this team? Because we haven't seen anybody run the ball. So I think as the season goes along, you get excited about seeing different scenarios, different variables entered, and how you handle it. Like, how does this team handle adversity? They haven't even trailed. They don't know what it's like to be behind. So there's still a lot of things that they have to face before I start saying, yes, they're going to be in the Super Bowl. But the one thing I do know is it's a very talented roster. And it's the reason I felt like they could win the NFC South, because when you just start looking at the names of the people on the piece of paper and the talent level of this team, they were too good not to be better than 8-9 or 9-8. I just look at this and say, who in the NFC scares you? Detroit was the darling of the NFL last year. They lost to the Bucs at home. I mean, the NFC is wide open, and I think that's what's exciting is there's no Mahomes in the NFC that you have to go through to get to the Super Bowl. Why not? Why not have to go through the Superdome to get to the Super Bowl in New Orleans?
The other great comp, Scott, is we all remember 2009, how great that team was. But the two previous teams in 2007, 2008 missed the playoffs. So when you were going through that in 2007 and 2008, can you draw a parallel like what it's like organizationally to sort of stay the course like they have here to get to a point where, man, this team, just what you just said, like they feel like a contender. It's 2 weeks, but yeah, they feel like a contender.
Yeah, certainly. You bring up those 2 years. 2006, there were zero expectations for our team. Everybody picks us to finish in the bottom of the division. 46 new guys on the roster, whatever it was. And so everybody had a chip on their shoulder. Like, we're going to show everybody, prove everybody wrong. We're going to make our city proud coming back from the hurricane. Like, we had a lot of variables to push us to being great that year. And we exceeded the talent level of that team for sure. 2007, people, Sports Illustrated, picking us to go to the Super Bowl. We did not handle the expectations well. We didn't put in the same amount of work. It's different when people are telling you you're not good. So I truly, 2008, we were a much better team than our 500 record. We had tons of guys on IR, and you could sense it starting to get to something special in 2008. And then we fixed our secondary. We just added the perfect pieces of the puzzle, and that's why 2009 took off. But I think last year, a lot of people weren't paying attention to the Saints, especially Derek Carr. Derek played great at the end of the season last year, and I think he's carried that confidence over to this year. So there are a lot of things that were hidden in 2008 that we carried over to 2009, and I think the same thing for the 2023 season that they carried over to 2024.
Former Saint linebacker Scott Shanle is our guest. Of course, you can catch him pre- and post-game with the Saints. You can go to their Twitter. You can see the pre- and post there, show that Scott does in studio. I want to dig a little deeper on the 2006 comp. You said in 2006 you all exceeded expectations, but exceeded your talent level. If this team continues on this path, and again, we keep stressing, Scott, and we understand it's 2 games. It's a small sample, but it's been so incredibly impressive. Like, are they outplaying even their talent level, considering the age of the defense, the uncertainty on the offensive line? Same, you could say maybe at running back and receiver. Like, yes, there's really good players on this roster, Scott, but there's also, I think, notable holes or questions on the roster coming in the year as well.
Yeah, and I think just based on the way the last year went, it's like, okay, you're going to roll out the same guy or the same guys at these position groups that weren't very good last year. How's that going to work? But I think some guys have really improved their level of play. And I think I was fortunate enough to go out to California for a week, the last week of camp, and watch this team up close and go to meetings and hang out around them in the hotel. And I walked away from it and I told people, I'm like, it's not broken. And they're like, well, what do you mean by that? I'm like, the chemistry is awesome. The old guys are coaching up the young guys. Like, it felt when we were there. And so I knew the culture wasn't broken. And that excited me, just being around it and seeing it. And I'm glad it's paid off into 2 early wins. But it's about for me, it's about how do you handle adversity? Say you drop Philly at home. How do you bounce back from that game? Because it is easy to play great when everybody's patting you on the back, telling you're the greatest thing since sliced bread. It's how do you handle the adverse situations? I go back to our 09 season. We start off, obviously, 13 straight wins, but there were moments early in the season that we questioned how good we were. We got down to a bad Miami Dolphins team on the road and came back and ended up winning that game handily. But that's what I want to see from this team. When they face adversity, how do they respond? And that'll give you a good indication of if they're ready for the big time.
I got a couple of more for you, and I'm glad you brought up that 13-0 start. And this kind of dovetails into something that you were talking about a bit ago. So if you're Dennis Allen, if you're this team right now, you've had these 2 blowout wins. How do you focus on, or what do you focus on improving when you've been nearly flawless? Like, how do you go be self-critical in a film session when you've offensively scored on all 15 possessions that your first team's been out there?
Yeah, it's hard to, because especially as a coach, you always want to play the perfect game. You always want to keep fixing things, but you have to be careful not to overcoach. You have to be careful about not coaching things that aren't happening or things that aren't existing and destroying the confidence of your players. Because right now, if I'm a New Orleans Saints offensive player, I feel like we can score on every single time we touch the ball because we've almost done it. Eventually, that's not going to happen, but the confidence on that side of the ball is unbelievable. You couple that with the play calling has been great, the screens, the running game, the play action pass, like the way Kamara fits in this offense, you equate it to what the 49ers are doing. You look McCaffrey and Kamara, they're the same player. Obviously, McCaffrey had success in that offense. You look at Purdy. Purdy was just a guy. And look at what type of player he's been in that offense. If Derek can just not turn the football over and continue to make those great throws down the field off the play action pass, this offense can continue to do it. But make no mistake about it, this offensive line has been the unsung hero of this team so far. They were one of the weaknesses of this team last year. So far, they played great. They dominated Dallas. And if they can keep playing like that, this offense can be hard to stop.
All right, before you go, it's a good follow-up there. It's almost like you're looking at all my questions. These are really good lead-ins for everything I want to ask you. So as a defensive player, you're watching this Saints offense. Because this is my big question, Scott, is, okay, now that we've seen Kubiak, the more film you put out, the more defensive coordinators are going to be able to game plan against whatever tendencies you may have. How are you scheming against this Saints offense?
It's a good question, because right now, I want to say I'm not letting the ball go over my head because Shaheed's speed scares me. But if you do that and you keep 2 safeties deep, Kamara's going to dice you underneath with the running game and the screen game, and Olave emerged last week. And I think that's what you're seeing. I think defenses are having a hard time picking their poison right now and it's a huge compliment to Klint. Klint's keeping defenses on their heels. He's keeping defensive coordinators on their heels. They don't know whether it's run or pass. And it all comes down to, and I mentioned them, the offensive line. If they keep road grading other grown men like this 2 and 3 yards off the line of scrimmage, this team's going to be hard to beat just because of the weapons. But for me, to stop this Saints offense, I'm probably going to blitz a little bit more and take some chances. And Mike Zimmer's not a big aggressive blitzer. He's a lot of quarters, cover 4. Carolina's a bad football team. So they're going to face a better team in Philadelphia this week, but it's going to be at home and the dome's going to be rocking. So I think they can continue this win streak.
Before you go, how fired up are you about the Huskers?
Oh, it's been a long time. It's been a long time since we've had a defense like that. But the quarterback, this kid's amazing. I played with his dad, Dominic Raiola, was a center with me at Nebraska.
Yeah.
Played about 12, 15 years with the Lions. His son has transformed the program. I mean, we have people coming in on visits, 5-star recruits that would have never considered Nebraska because the last couple of years, and they want to play with him. And I really think with the 12-team playoff, you keep winning games. Nebraska's schedule's pretty easy. They could be 7-0 before Ohio State. You never know what can happen, but it's exciting. They have a defense and a quarterback, and a lot of times you win a lot of games with that.
Scott Shanle, former state linebacker, Super Bowl champ, happy Husker as well, and rightfully so. We appreciate you always, man. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. Take care.
Be well. Good stuff. Follow Scott on Twitter, X at Scott Shanle. Does a great job. Don't catch him on the pre and post on the Saints. He, for a long time was there with CST. Your View now has moved into that role with the Saints organization, pre and post on the social media. You can check it out on Twitter, X, Facebook. You'll see it all there. All right, it's after further review. Let me knock out a quick break. Brian Kelly met with reporters, recapping South Carolina, starting to look ahead to UCLA. We'll touch on that next. It's AFR.
After further review.
Brought to you by the Watermark Hotel and the Renaissance Hotel, two amazing hotel properties in Baton Rouge. Watermark downtown, Renaissance Southtown. Great opportunity all this weekend. Of course, home game for LSU means on Friday, where the Tigers will be. They'll be at the Renaissance Hotel right there on Bluebonnet across from the Mall of Louisiana and Perkins Road. It's always a great time to get by and experience. Check out the Renaissance, Tallulah inside the Renaissance if you haven't yet. And also remember, our friends over at the Renaissance Hotel, they do such a great idea. Been telling you about all the different events that they have going on and trying to find new ways and creative ways to get you in there and have a good time. They got a charcuterie culinary class coming up. It's this Thursday. It's this Thursday, y'all, the 19th, from 6:30 until 8 p.m. The package includes the charcuterie board and a flight of wine for each ticket. So you can check it out. There's a link on their Facebook page. Just go to the Renaissance Hotel Facebook page. You'll see it there, how you can buy your ticket for the charcuterie culinary class this Thursday from 6:30 until 8 o'clock right there at the Renaissance Hotel on Bluebonnet.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
It's no secret, the best oysters in Baton Rouge are at Jolie Pearl Oyster Bar. Enjoy mouth-watering South Louisiana flavor and oysters from all over the country. And don't forget our nightly drink specials. Jolie Pearl Oyster Bar, located in downtown Baton Rouge.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
Construction and Roofing. Hello, Kim Mulkey here. When I have construction and roofing needs, I call my friend Ryan Terrio and the Parish Construction and Roofing team. I sleep good at night because I know the Parish team has my back. Go to parishbuilt.com for all of your roofing needs. And remember, always do business with someone you know. Parish Built, from your hometown, parishbuilt.com.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Dylan Cruz here to tell you about Six Rings Baseball and Softball Camp. If you live on the North Shore and play ball, go to Six Rings Camps with former LSU assistant coach Dan Canaveri. His knowledge is second to none, and your child will improve and have fun doing it. Camps were held at Coquille Park and Six Rings Academy in Covington with 4 sessions over the summer. Full day and morning only sessions are available from ages 7 to 13. Go to sixringsbaseball.com or call 985.
After further review, presented by Relief Windows. Windows, doors, siding, and oh yeah, they also do interior shutters.
Cruising along. Glad to have you hanging out with us here. Monday show is brought to you by Relief Windows and reliefwindows.com. It's always better to come to work on a Monday after all the teams win, man. It's just easier to wake up. No matter how it might have looked on Saturday, it's still better when you wake up and the Tigers win as opposed to the Tigers losing, and certainly the Saints have been awesome so far. Peter Burns, SEC Network here in 12 minutes from right now. Brian Kelly on Monday met with reporters, and it was interesting because the tone, the tenor of the conversation wasn't so much about the blocking, the tackling, the throwing, the catching, the personnel. It was more, it felt like the conversation was more about the message, the general feel overall of the program. Brian Kelly started the press conference before he even answered a question with this.
From an entire team standpoint, to win games like that, you have to understand habits have a lot to do with it. Winning's a habit and losing's a habit. And if you have losing habits, you can't win those games. This group has the right habits. Now we have to be able to clean up the things technically. And they really come down to three things. Personnel, the coaching of the schemes themselves. Are we in the right schemes for our players? And then the preparation.
I bring that up because there was a piece today at CBS Sports. John Talty, who John's a good guy. He's come on the show before. He worked at AL.com. He's now with CBS Sports. Does a good job. John wrote in his piece about the LSU South Carolina game, and I'll read this line. This is the line that's gotten a lot of attention today. A lot of people have sent me this. John wrote, multiple industry sources familiar with LSU, whatever that means, told CBS Sports on Saturday they believe the on-field issues are a result of a disconnect between Kelly and his LSU players, with his personality and style not resonating as well in Baton Rouge as it did in South Bend. So first, I like John a lot. I think John does a very good job. John just published a book on with Armin Katayan about Nick Saban, his career. I mean, he's very well respected. I mean, he's a best-selling author now, and John's very well respected. I have a little bit of an issue with running that line, and it's not to say that whoever John's speaking to is incredible, but it's more to say that that's so vague. And it actually is it's contrary to what Brian Kelly's saying and really what we're seeing. Did LSU allow a 75-yard touchdown run and a 66-yard touchdown run because the culture is bad? Because LSU players, like Brian Kelly's style isn't resonating? Or are they not that good on the defensive line? I don't know. Time will tell. And Kelly on Monday also went further about, and he really got into some detail here about how close he thinks they are to being really good.
Do we want to play cleaner? Yes. But at the end of the day, that was a good South Carolina football team. That was a good defense. We scored 36 points, and I think everybody watched the game. We didn't score inside the 5 twice. You just score those 2 touchdowns, which are, I think, an 87 or 88% chance of scoring touchdowns in that area. That's 50 points. So we're not that far off. And if we make the 2 plays that we should make, just, being fundamentally sound on the 2 run plays, we're going to give up less than 250 yards in total offense. So we're really close, and I'm not here to make you guys feel better. You guys are going to evaluate it and write the way you write it, but I know what we see, and I know how we feel about what we need to do.
I mean, in one vein, he's not wrong, right? You had 2 goal-to-go possessions, one right there at the start of the second half, where you came up empty. If you score 50. Okay, but you didn't, right? You also didn't score in your opening drive in, as he calls it, the blue zone inside the 5-yard line in the opening game of the season, opening drive of the season against Southern Cal. So if you didn't, if we don't allow the 2 long runs, but you did, and you allowed the long run against Nichols as well, where I look at that and I go, that's clearly a symptom of your defense, where I think overall you've been pretty good against the run. Overall, you've stopped what was your Achilles heel a year ago, which was getting absolutely gutted in the secondary. Like, you're not seeing receivers running free, defensive backs with their hands in the air. They have very clearly in the secondary simplified to prevent the 15-yard catch from becoming the 50-yard touchdown. What they haven't figured out right now is how to prevent that single wing play from going 75 yards or 67 yards or 66 yards. Yeah, fix that, and you allow less than 250 yards total offense. Yeah, but that's become a symptom of what you are. My question would be, to the point of the piece at CBS, where that suggestion is Brian Kelly's message isn't taking hold with this group the way that it did in South Bend, which I don't know. I fundamentally disagree with that. I mean, I'm around this team and this program a lot, as much as anybody, and I don't get that sense. I mean, I covered the 2020 and 2021 teams. There was a total disconnect at the end of Orgeron. This isn't a me going off on Orgeron thing. It's not that. It is just, that is a thing that happened. It started with the BLM march. It didn't start there, but that was part of it. And the disconnect with the coaching staff, clearly in recruiting. The disconnect with the staff, like the stories you would hear about Bo Pelini being the 8 o'clock meet, and he's just speeding over the train tracks on Skip Bertman Drive at 7:59 to get there. Last one in, first one out. There was a lot wrong with the program then. Like, I don't hear any of that now. Like, literally none of that. So my contention is where they are now. It's not flawless. I think Brian Kelly's made some mistakes. His giant mistake was not retaining Corey Raymond, not retaining Greg McMahon, bringing in Polian to be your recruiting court. Like, those were his gigantic mistakes at the onset. Massive mistakes that set you back. But I think he's fixed them. And look at the 2025 recruiting class, which is coming in. And then look at what can be in 2026 with the bumper crop in Louisiana. What you're missing right now are players defensively. I mean, I don't know that anybody would disagree with that assumption. For this season, the big question is, how much more can you maximize the guys you have on this roster? How much can you squeeze that orange to get every drop of juice, every drop of ability out of this team defensively? And I don't know the answer to that. I'll be interested to see how it finds out. I think offensively, you're going to keep getting better. Looks like you found something in Caden Durham. You're going to get Chris Hilton back healthy. Like, there's a lot to like in this offense, and they're going to keep scoring points and being really good offense. I mean, they put up 400 yards of offense after getting 7 yards in the first quarter. They were awesome after that first quarter offensively. The interception notwithstanding, but anyway. I just don't know that I agree. I just have a fundamental disagreement with what John wrote there and wherever he's getting that information. But it is something worth watching as you move throughout the remainder of this season and beyond. But as I'll continue to say, for better or worse, like, financially, LSU is bound to Brian Kelly for a decade because you're not buying out that deal. So you got to figure out a way to make it work. You know, a way to make it work? Get better players. Looks like that's going to happen. Cavalry's on the way. Okay, quick break. Come back. Peter Burns, SEC Network, will be here. Stick around.
After further review.
AFR is brought to you by Glow Resources, complete employer solutions over at Glow Resources. It's pretty simple. If your business is lacking efficiency because you're lacking the right people, Glow Resources can help. You can check them out online at glowresources.com. That's glowresources.com. They're just the best. You know, when you reach out to Glow Resources, ask for Casey, by the way, in the professional placement division. It's a really cool process because they can move quickly based on your timeline. They'll do a deep dive market analysis, and they recruit nationwide. So, I mean, I give you examples all the time. There's a Baton Rouge company that was looking for an engineer. They found the employee in Florida to do the work for a job in California. They found a man in Amarillo, Texas, who's now working on plant management in Mississippi, was able to buy his first home, put his kids in private school. Hiring the right employee saves your business time and money, and Glow Resources can help. GLO, glowresources.com.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Looking for the ultimate game day experience? Come to the Queen Casino in Baton Rouge. Wall-to-wall TVs mean you'll see every touchdown in HD. Place your bets and feel the thrill of every play with our DraftKings Sportsbook. The Queen Casino, where every moment is a win.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected. Supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
When it comes to ending cancer, we push forward, always working together for you. That's why our cancer experts at Ochsner have clinically integrated with MD Anderson Cancer Center. This means advanced cancer care, including access to life-saving clinical trials and integrating care to treat the whole you. Introducing Ochsner MD Anderson Cancer Center. Long live you.
Electricity is all around us, and our families depend on it. Every day is sparked by the power of a cold drink or a warm meal, a movie night, and a comforting light at the end of a dark hallway. From sunrise to sunset, playtime to bedtime, our team is ready to take care of your electrical needs. Even in the case of an after-hours emergency, the light in your life shines brighter with Mr. Electric.
At Relief Windows, we're more than windows. We're windows, doors, hardy plank, and vinyl siding. But our number one product is always customer satisfaction.
After further review, presented by Relief Windows. Windows, doors, siding, and oh yeah, they also do interior shutters.
Peter Burns, SEC Network, takes a show on the road here during the college football season as well. Good enough to join us for a couple of minutes. How are you, Pete?
I'm alive, which at around 8:04 p.m. on Friday night, that almost wasn't the case.
Oh,
so
what happened?
I'm here. So I just, I posted it on Twitter and I talked about it on the show this morning. Man, I'm having dinner with Alyssa Lang, that's Stinchcomb, and Commissioner Sankey there in Como. Right before the Missouri-Boston College game, man, a piece of steak goes down wrong and gets lodged in the middle of my chest. And
oh my God!
Immediately I knew something was really wrong, man. I tried to, drink some water and it didn't go down. I all of a sudden just couldn't breathe at all, in or out. And I tell Stinchcomb to come over there. He gives me the Heimlich, and that doesn't work. Then I tell the owner, and the owner comes over there and does it. And we're like, a minute and a half into this thing, and then all of a sudden, some nurse comes over and says, "Hey, let me try." And she, he can't get it done. And about 2 minutes in, man, it starts getting fuzzy and starts blacking out. And I'm like, "This is it. This was it was a good run." And sure enough, man, this Missouri fan came in, this youth football coach who had just got done doing CPR and life-saving training. saved my life, man. It was wild. It's wild to say the least. So hi, hello, how are you on this fine Monday?
Oh my God! I just pulled up your Twitter thread. There's the picture right there for those who are watching on YouTube and WBTR. Wait a minute. So forgive me, Pete. I missed this, man. I didn't see your tweet. I didn't know this happened. So what did he do? If the Heimlich didn't work, what did he do?
I mean, again, just they kept trying. And then I knew when Stinchcomb and the owner did it, I thought, hey, these are pretty big guys. But when the nurse did it, I said, okay, well, hey, listen, the nurse knows what they're doing, and even the nurse who was doing it, and man, nothing was moving, and that's when it got dire, and that's when I started to panic. Because the weirdest thing about this, Moscona, is when you're choking like this, you can see fine, you hear everything, your sense of touch is there, you just can't breathe, and I'm watching everybody starting to panic and calling the 911, and I see people freaking out and crying. I'm like, oh my God, this is happening. And I guess the guy, the last guy, he just said he tried a little bit of a different angle, and all of a sudden, man, right when I was, about to give up, just all of a sudden felt some movement in my chest, and it got up. So, life-changing stuff, man. It goes to show you, man, I all these times we do this CPR and you get these emails about, hey, make sure you're certified, and I always kind of blow them off. And, man, thank God, those people are right there at the right time, and or I wouldn't be here right now.
Man, what a story. Oh, my God. You're right. That's a lesson for everyone listening. If you're not certified in CPR, if you've never done CPR training, we had to do that. I'm sure, I don't know if you have, Pete, but before we could take Drew home from the hospital, we had to get certified in CPR. So we had to go through all the class, the training, everything. I mean, we have devices in the house that are extraction choking devices. So my God, yes, let Pete's story be a testimony to everybody listening right now. If you have never gotten trained in CPR, go do that. It's not a hard thing to do. Just go do it, because you never know when you're the guy or girl at a restaurant or somewhere and Peter Burns is choking next to you. You got to go save his life.
Yeah, again, it was. Listen, it was the Heimlich, and I had 4 big dudes doing the Heimlich, so I got 4 fractured ribs right now. But I'm happy that I can barely walk, and man, yeah, it was just one of those things where you never know when you're going to use it. And it's amazing how many people have reached out over the last 24 hours that had said something happened similar to them. Or, I had a close friend, in the media tell me that, they had a family friend who, when it happened to them, they didn't want to cause a scene. So they went to the restroom so as not to cause a scene and, kind of throw up at the table. And they died. They died in the stall. And I'm like, so, my lesson was, hey, try to know CPR, try to know the Heimlich, even with family members and stuff like that or wherever. But, hey, if you ever feel like something, I think that saved my life, because me telling people immediately, it was, I can't hold my breath for 2.5 minutes. So to this day, I don't know how I stayed conscious for 2.5 minutes without air.
You had a reserve.
And then on top of that, after that on Friday night, I got to watch LSU USC and nearly died again. So, the life expectancy for LSU fans, as I bring this full circle, is it's getting shorter and shorter by the day, my man.
Do you just before you came on, we were talking about a piece. I don't know if you've seen it. John Talty over at CBS wrote that, as he put it, sources familiar with the LSU, college football sources familiar with LSU is kind of how he worded it. Say that essentially Brian Kelly's message isn't taking hold with these players the way it did at Notre Dame. I don't know, man. Pete, you're in the media. You talk to a lot of people, high-level coaches, administrators, media, everything. I'm always a little skeptical whenever I see a story like that. What do you think when you read something like that?
I know that sometimes if I talk to 1 or 2 people, I might find 1 or 2 disgruntled people. And on the flip side of it, I might find 1 or 2 other people that just go, hey, man, you wouldn't even know that we're 0-3 right now because everything is good in the building. So I think it always just a matter of who your sources are and if they have an axe to grind or if there's a story there. So Yeah, I mean, I think you can say that at Georgia. I think you can say that every program you're going to find somebody that says, "Hey, man, I don't know about this team or this. They're not responding the same way." At the end of the day, it comes down to it doesn't matter if they respond or don't. It's wins or losses in this game, and they're down 17-0, and they sure as hell responded in a hostile environment. I don't care who it was. I mean, look at Kentucky. They were literally left for football dead after getting crushed by South Carolina, and they damn near beat number one team in the country over on Saturday.
Hey, is Josh Heupel a gigantic jerk?
No, I've never gotten that. I mean, I've been around him enough and the people.
Okay, let me ask you why.
Yeah. Are you talking about the onside kick?
Yeah, they're up 30-0 in the first quarter.
Yeah.
And dude goes onside kick. Come on, what are you doing, man? That's ridiculous.
You know what that I get it, and I know, and what that is a killer mentality. And I know some people are going to say, "Well, what are you doing?" And to me, this was to show to practice it in a game when they get a look. B, to put it on film that it's, hey, they're not afraid to do it at any given time. You better be ready for it. And at the same point, honestly, there's shades of no like prisoners on this Tennessee football team right now. I mean, they're up 65-0 at half. They could have Cumberland gapped, Kent State if they wanted to. I mean, they could have won 226-0 and got some, after them. But I think that's part of the mentality. I think Heupel, he had a great halftime interview with Klint Kubiak. He was like, "Listen, the opponent is nameless. The opponent is faceless. We're here to dominate right now." And honestly, sometimes I hear that and I'm like, I kind of wish I had more of that mentality out of BK or this football team. Because I think LSU's talented. I think sometimes they go in not believing that they are. And I think that's the struggle of it, because at the highest level, LSU, I think, can play with anybody in the country. It's just they don't seem to react that way like I saw old LSU squads do, and like I saw Joe Burrow and some of these guys do back in the day.
Peter Burns with us, SEC Network, on Twitter at Peter Burns ESPN. By the way, where are y'all this week?
We are going to be at Kentucky. So for SEC Now Live, we're going to be at Kentucky for that game. So I'm interested to see how they respond after. I mean, they had to punt on 4th and 8.
Wait, you agree with the punt?
I go back and forth. I mean, I guess I'm trying to convince myself. I personally would have been like, man, you got the number one team on the rope.
Yes.
You got to go, even if it's a 15% chance, because you knew as soon as they punted on 4th and 8, you're like, well, that's ball game.
Ball game.
So, I mean, hey, sometimes you win a bunch of games being defensive and conservative, and sometimes you lose games like that.
PB, it might be different if it was 4th and 8 from their own 10, and you're just trying to give yourself a chance, play defense, hold them to a field goal, give yourself a shot. They're at midfield, man. Like, whatever play you got in your bag, like you just said, man, you're down a point to the number one team in the country. You're at home. You got to go. Anyway.
Well, it's BK trying to take going to the extra point the first year against Bama. Like, that probably is what it plays out. Like, that's probably the play. And at some point, him or Sloan or whoever it is that calls the play, that's like, no, to hell with it. Jim Brock says, no, we're going to go for it. So you do it. Like, live or die a legend one way or another. Don't back away from the poker table.
I got two things. Number one, speaking of Tennessee, they go on the road to Oklahoma. So Oklahoma starts conference play, first SEC game ever, and it's against their former quarterback in Josh Heupel. Do you have a feeling one way? This would be, look, let's just be very clear. This would be the first time Tennessee's even remotely tested this year. Any feeling one way on how that might go?
I feel like this is Tennessee by double digits, and mostly because I do think that Oklahoma is going to be able to make a couple of stops against this offense. But I'm telling you, and it's way too early, and I know people say that about 2019 LSU, and I'm not going there, but there's shades of explosive offense that if I'm going to do 10, if I have 10 drives, I'm probably going to have success at least 60% of the time. And I don't think Oklahoma can get into that track meet. I just don't think they don't have the offense to get into that track meet that Tennessee wants to get into right
I don't know how comfortable you'd be answering this, but like Billy Napier, he's not going to make it. I don't know if you have any insight around Florida, but like how much longer do you think he makes it around there?
I mean, I think the die has almost been cast. I mean, if you read Chris Lowe's reporting, and we had him on our show this morning, and says, listen, if it's about the buyout money, don't worry about the buyout. It's just a matter of, if and when. Now, traditionally, when these things are made, it's either done at a bye week, but this year is a little bit different because there's 2 bye weeks for everybody because the way this season runs. So, do you look at it after Mississippi State? Do you give him a couple more games and then wait for the bye week again, or do you let him play it out? Like I don't know, but I think that it's gotten to the point where you sit there and go, I don't know how you let somebody run for 300 yards with a backup quarterback at home after what happened in Miami in a make or break season. And it's tough situation, but then again, there's also a whole lot of heck out of money that's going to be paid out in the buyout. So I don't ever feel too terrible for any coaches.
Yeah. Like Peter mentioned, Florida's at Mississippi State and Starkville this weekend. Then they have their open date. The next open date doesn't come until the end of October. They'll play Kentucky, and then they have an open date before they play Georgia.
So this means one way or another, Lane Kiffin's the first $15 million a year head coach?
You think he gets to 15?
I don't know, but I mean, is it a name your number situation? I mean, right now, who other person is apt to go to different places more so than Lane? Lane is probably as trigger happy to go to different spots, and Jackson Dart's leaving next year. Now, I'd love for Ole Miss, and Ole Miss has already stepped up when Auburn tried to came to the table, but how many times can you get and do that?
Yep.
I'd like to see him. I think he fits well at Ole Miss, and I hope that he stays there. But an opportunity when the bar is set low at a blue blood program, I mean, if I'm Lane, I ask for the whole damn world, and that's going to be an interesting situation if he's involved in that because, let's say you make a choice. Well, signing day and the transfer portal are early December now, and oh, by the way, that's college football playoff time. So this is going to be interesting, just the whole carousel this year on how it works.
That's a great point. Peter Burns, SEC Network, good enough to join us here on Mondays. Hope Tiger Joe has a great karate lesson. Or it's not Tiger Joe, it's Bo who has karate, huh?
Bo has it right now, so she's all in on it. So that way she can get into a battle with Tiger Joe. And I got to be honest with you, although she's got 6 inches of height in 2 years, my money is on Tiger Joe, like minus 175.
He's named after the greatest ever, man. He's Tiger Joe. I'm going to tell you what.
The GOAT.
Let's go. Thanks, dude. We appreciate you.
See you, dude. Later.
I'm glad you're alive. Man. God, dog. You want to talk about terrifying, not being able to breathe? Whew, boy. If you missed that, if you're just joining us, Peter told a story, not a joke at all. He was in Como in Columbia, Missouri this past weekend on Friday having dinner and was choking. And it took 4 different people to perform in the Heimlich to finally get the piece of meat dislodged from his chest and so he could breathe. Wow. Incredible. Okay, it's after further review. We're brought to you by Parish Construction and Roofing. ParishBuilt.com, ParishBuilt.com. Tell you every day, do business with someone you know. That's me, Terrio, Richard Tilley, Joe Morales, Trent Davis, our great staff. Shout out to Christina, by the way. Christina is our office manager over at Parish Construction and Roofing, and she's awesome. If you walk into our office, she's the first one on the right. Can't miss her. She keeps everything rolling. Today is Christina's birthday, so happy birthday to Christina. Big shout out. Make sure everyone in the office clips this if they haven't yet. We'll put her out there. You can put it up there. It is right there. Happy birthday to Christina. From everybody at Parish Construction and Roofing, and, of course, all of us. When you go into the office, chances are you won't be in our office without seeing and talking to and meeting Christina. She's awesome. We appreciate all the work she does. And, of course, we're a big family over there, and we'd love to help you out, you and your family, if you have issues with your roof. Do business with someone you know. ParishBuilt.com, ParishBuilt.com. If you had any damage due to Francine or think you might, our crews are out immediately going on all different types of inspections, so we'd love to give you that free, no-obligation roofing inspection. Do business with someone you know. Parish Construction and Roofing. Visit ParishBuilt.com. Okay, well, now I got our final break here of hour number 2. in 13 minutes after SportsCenter, I'm going to elaborate on the first 2 weeks of Derek Carr, my reaction, and make 2 comparisons to NFL history, what I think is happening right now with Derek Carr. That's coming up in 13 minutes, but Muse will have Tigers in the Pros next.
AFR.
Brought to you by Duplessis Builders. Hey, man, I told you our friends over at Duplessis Builders did an NIL deal with Kyron Lacey, Tiger receiver, and Harlem Berry, Tiger commitment. Derek Duplessis, LSU alum, great Tiger fans, and happy to sort of embark on the NIL space. So we're actually going to have Kyron on the show tomorrow as part of a series we're going to do with Duplessis Builders. So we're excited about that. Hey, look, if you've been thinking about that pool, that outdoor kitchen, your backyard paradise, you want a premium product, you got to go with Duplessis. DuplessisBuilders.net. Their new showroom, by the way, is on Airline Highway in Gonzales on Duplessis Lane, fittingly, right next to the new Rouse's on Airline. Go in. You could see all the different finishes. They'll hold your hand while you pick it, so you can kind of be part of the process of designing your new pool. It's an awesome experience, and they'll do beautiful work. DuplessisBuilders.net. DuplessisBuilders.net.
At Relief Windows, we're more than windows. We're windows, doors, hardy plank, and vinyl siding. But our #1 product is always customer satisfaction. Visit us online at reliefwindows.com. Oh, by the way, we do shutters too.
It's an everyday thing here. We work horses in the mornings and we work on the property during the day, and without these John Deere tractors, it'd almost be impossible to keep up with the place. I've dealt with some of the other colors and stuff, and I never really got the response back that I get from John Deere, We really enjoy dealing with Sunshine. They're good people. They always check on us and make sure our equipment's running, and we love them. Flip the switch and learn more about what it means to be powered by Sunshine at sunequip.com.
Parish Construction and Roofing. You can't win a championship without playing defense. Go to parishbuilt.com and sign up for the priority emergency list and man up on this storm. Parishbuilt.com.
Breck teamed up to reimagine your parks, and you imagined big. With your help, we went to work, creating 12 beautiful community parks across the parish. A family-sized water park, miles and miles of trails, and parks just for your dogs. There are more places to splash, to explore, to run wild, and even soar. You imagined, we delivered. Gold. Breck, your #1 park system in the nation.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app is a smart way to manage your money and time. Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary, for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected. Supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team. And backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile.
After further review, presented by Relief Windows. Windows, doors, siding, and oh yeah, they also do interior shutters.
Wrapping up hour number 2. Glad to have you hanging out with us here. Muso, Tigers in the Pros.
Tigers in the Pros. They still bleed purple and gold. They're just really rich now.
a big day for wide receiver U in the National Football League. We talked about Justin Jefferson a little bit earlier in the show in our What to Watch recap, but 4 receptions, 133 yards, and a score, a long of 97. Did exit the game with a quad injury and did not return. No formal update yet from the Minnesota Vikings on the status and severity of that injury. But in that, Jets reached 400 catches, 6,000 yards in 62 games as a pro. He was awesome. Commanders and Giants, Malik Neighbors, huge day. 10 receptions. He was targeted 18 times in this game, by the way. 10 receptions,
good.
Buck 27, and his first career touchdown as well.
Bro,
in that
one
one,
they got on that offense, dog.
It is. And it wasn't enough, clearly, as the Commanders ended up getting the win. Jaden Daniels didn't find the end zone, but racked up the yards, 226 through the air, 44 on the ground.
You saw they did the jersey swap?
I did see they did. I did see that they.
Words
I did see
muse.
that.
Oh, I get it.
I did see the jersey swap.
Right about now is when it's really starting to feel good.
Wrapping
right?
up
a little
our
harder, slur the speech a bit.
Wrapping up our recap of wide receiver U, Brian Thomas Jr., 94 yards on just 2 catches, a long of 66. He's still got that deep threat capability in him. What a surprise. Grant Delpit was on the other side of him in that game. 2 TFLs to go along with 6 tackles total. Yep. How about Derek Stingley Jr. last night? Saw that interception for Sting.
Oh, my
Great
God.
play, wasn't it? Man, he's still got it, too. He's not bad. And Danielle Hunter, all over the field for the Texans. 1.5 sacks to go along with 5 tackles. Had 2 other hits on the quarterbacks. We'll wrap it up with some golf here.
He missed a sack by that much, too. That
Yeah,
was
he
the
did.
play where Caleb Williams spun out and his jersey was being torn and everything.
Yep. Hats off to former Tiger Ingrid Lindblad. She got her first professional win yesterday on the Epson Tour, working her way to the PGA. Shot a 67, 5 under in the final round. Was trailing by 2, ended up getting the dub. Hats off. That's Tigers in the pros.
Not surprisingly, my bottle of Evermore is gone. If you were here on Friday, Terrio took my bottle of Evermore, which is the prop here, and I said, you're going to take that and drink it, and I'm going to forget to go to the store and get a new one to put here. So I did forget. I should have a bottle of Evermore right here. This is the set prop, but Terrio drank mine on Friday. But I was happy to do that and share the beautiful wonder mint of hydration, courtesy of Evermore. Pick up some Evermore at great local retailers or online at evermore.com. EVAMOR, evermore.com. A better source of hydration, natural artesian water. It's Evermore. Okay, talking Derek Carr next.
AFR.
Everybody's waiting for me to talk about Derek Carr, too. Hey, let me remind you about the Williamson Eye Center. 924-2020, 924-2020, or williamsoneye.com. If you want to see 2020, call 924-2020. Y'all, we're moving toward the end of the year. So for a lot of people right now, might want to look at your medical policies, deductibles, your out-of-pocket, all that sort of stuff. Could be a great opportunity before the year is up to get that LASIK scheduled, the PRK, the custom lens replacement. And the Williamson Eye Center is just the best. When professional athletes trust the Williamson Eye Center, you and I should as well. Told you. Devin White, Caleb on Chasson, Warren Morris, Paul Maneri. It is custom lens replacement done over at the Williamson Eye Center as well. No matter your age or refractive issue, you want to see 2020, call 924-2020. Schedule that consultation with Dr. Blake Williamson at the Williamson Eye Center. 924-2020.
Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram has back-to-school savings like $16,000 off 25 Ram 1500 trucks. We're open for business in our beautiful new showroom and taking $16,000 off. All new Bayou vehicles come with a complimentary extended warranty. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
There's nothing chill about a hot, sweaty line. Unless you add Mountain Cold Refreshment. Coors Light. Choose chill.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app is a smart way to manage your money and time. Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
Parrish Construction and Roofing. At Parrish, we've got you covered. From the top of your roof, all the way down. Parrish Construction and Roofing. Parrish built. Parrish built. Parrish built. From your hometown, ParrishBuilt.com.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary, for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected. Supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
The Windsor Senior Living Community in Mandeville, Louisiana is a beautiful, vibrant apartment community geared toward seniors. They are nestled right in the heart of Mandeville, where seniors live a more carefree lifestyle in spacious apartments with the peace of mind that comes from having a little extra help. Call the Windsor at 985-624-8040 to schedule a lunch and tour. Come see how the Windsor can be your passport to peace of mind.
Hey, it's Matt Moscona. For years, you've heard me tell you about Insurance Network of Louisiana, helping you find better coverage for less money. But it's not just for your home and auto. They also offer commercial property. So, retail stores, professional offices like doctors, dentists, attorneys, clothing boutiques. Insurance Network of Louisiana can find you better coverage for less money. They service the entire state of Louisiana, and they're local. So call today at 293-0450 or lainsurance.net.
This is SportsCenter.
I'm Christine Lisi. Carolina's benching former number 1 overall pick quarterback Bryce Young. They are turning to veteran Andy Dalton. Young's 2-16 as the Panthers starter, 0 touchdowns, 3 picks in 2 starts this season for Coach Dave Canales.
A lot of factors that go into it, for this decision, and ultimately just kind of lands on my shoulders to be able to make the best decision for our group, to give us our best chance to win this week. And we focus on the weeks. We focus on the challenge at hand, and we feel like Andy gives us our best chance to meet the challenge.
Young will back up Dalton Sunday in Vegas. Dolphins quarterback Tua Tagovailoa won't be placed on IR, at least not until more information is available on his latest concussion, according to Coach Mike McDaniel. Miami is signing QB Tyler Huntley off the Ravens practice squad. Rams receiver Cooper Kupp expected to miss multiple weeks with an ankle injury. From ESPN's Jeremy Fowler, Chiefs running back Isaiah Pacheco expected to miss 6 to 8 weeks with a fibula injury, does plan to return this season. Texas quarterback Quinn Ewers' abdominal injury questionable Saturday versus Louisiana Monroe. Arch Manning starts if Ewers can't go.
ESPN Radio is presented by Progressive Insurance. Progressive makes bundling easy and affordable. Get a multi-policy discount by combining your car, home, motorcycle, commercial auto, and more. All your protection in one place. Bundle and save at progressive.com.
Matt Moscona.
I'm very important.
After further review.
Say it one more time.
After further review with Matt Moscona.
And here we go.
Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge studio.
Let's ride!
Hour 3, off we go. Welcome aboard. Glad you're with us. It's AFR, presented by Relief Windows. I'm Matt.
You're a loser, Matt!
Hey, shut up, kid. Paul O'Neill.
They're chanting Paul O'Neill's name.
You sir. And Mr. Toby Tomlin. All right, we're here. Glad you are as well. Get out there and make it a good one. 5 o'clock quitting time. Glad you are driving home with us. Tigers win. Saints win. If you missed the open of the show, you can catch it on demand, presented by Brett Golf. We'll get it up on YouTube as well. Thoughts on LSU beating South Carolina, rallying from down 17. Sometimes in life, you learn lessons the hard way. For the LSU Tigers, you learned a lesson about being prepared on the road in conference after a win. Certainly a good thing, keeps everything alive. And then we talked a lot about the New Orleans Saints beating the Dallas Cowboys the way they did. 44-19, incredibly impressive start. Scott Shanle was here last hour. And Shanle was such an interesting convo because, remember, he was on that 06 Saints team that had no expectation. Similar to this. There weren't many people expecting anything of that 06 team. And, of course, they went 10-6 and won the division and went to the NFC Championship game. He was also there in 09, which came off back-to-back seasons where they missed the postseason but felt like they were really good, stayed the course, and then, of course, won the Super Bowl. So some really good perspective from Scott. You can catch that on demand if you missed it. With the way that the Saints have started, this will be of no surprise to any of you. I have gotten an awful lot of messages. Twitter, on the text line, DMs, carrier pigeon. Scone, what do you think of Derek Carr now? I think he's been awesome. I think Derek Carr has been, without any caveat, without any qualification, awesome. Undeniable. Leading the league right now in touchdown passes, leading the league in completion percentage. We have crowned him and ordained him here the emperor of empty yards. And that was warranted. A guy who, throughout his career, at times has stat compiled late in games. See the Rams game a year ago. I went through it last week. The number of 300-yard games he had last year in losses. But where was the efficiency? Where were the wins? But unequivocally, through 2 games, Derek Carr has been awesome. And I will always say this. If you're going to give criticism when it's warranted, so too must you give praise and credit where it is due. And Derek Carr, through 2 weeks, has been awesome. Accurate, poised, confident, efficient, any adjective you want. He has been awesome. And if he continues to play like this the rest of the season, the Saints are a challenger in the NFC. Period. Full stop. So there's a couple of ways that I want to look at what's going on right now with Carr and with this offense. First of all, let's be very clear. Derek Carr is in his 11th NFL season. Year 11. There is no denying, none, over a 161-game career sample what Derek Carr is, okay? That's a big enough sample size for you to draw conclusions about a player. 161 games, that's a lot. And what Derek Carr has been for his entire career is a good starting quarterback, not a backup, not a maybe borderline starter, a good starting quarterback in the NFL, not a championship level quarterback, not a top 10 quarterback in the NFL. He is a high teens, 20-ish starting quarterback in the NFL. That's what he is. Before this season, Pro Football Focus rated Derek Carr the 21st best quarterback in the NFL. Pro Football Network had him 17th. The Ringer had him 19th. NFL.com ranked Derek Carr coming into the season the 20th best quarterback. That's what he is. You have had a decade-long sample to suggest that is what this player is. ESPN polled NFL executives this year. Rank your top 10 quarterbacks. 18 quarterbacks got votes. Derek Carr was not one of them. As a starting quarterback, he has had 3 winning seasons. 3. In 2016, they went 12-3 before he got hurt. In 2021, he was 10-7. And then last year with the Saints, he was 9-8. That's it. As a starting quarterback in the NFL, he's had 3 winning seasons. Again, there was a large enough sample of Derek Carr's career to know what he is. And what he is is an average starting quarterback. So what you are seeing right now from Derek Carr, which is amazing, and he deserves a ton of credit for it. I'm giving him his credit. I've always said this about Derek Carr. Great man, great husband, great father, great teammate, elite, all those things that you want to be great at in life. Just not an elite quarterback, and he hasn't been in his career. What we are seeing right now is an outlier. So what is the reason for the outlier? And I want to point out two instances where I think this correlates to what we are seeing with Derek Carr, and it's a reason that if you're a Saints fan, you should be really, really optimistic that he will be able to keep this pace this year. Number one is Rich Gannon. And if you're old enough to remember Rich Gannon, you know what I'm about to say, but if you're younger, I'll connect these dots. So Rich Gannon played 18 NFL seasons. Started in 1987 with the Minnesota Vikings. And for his career, Rich Gannon was a good NFL quarterback. He was a starting NFL quarterback. Over his 18 seasons, he played in 157 games. Remember, these were 16-game seasons at the time. But he played in 157 games with 132 career starts. Rich Gannon, over the course of his career, threw for over 20. Wait, hang on. Where is his passing total? Sorry. I passed it. Here it is. My apologies. Over his career, Rich Gannon threw for 28,743 yards over his 157 games played. Again, Rich Gannon was a good player. He was a starter in the NFL. And then, if you're looking at his career, you'll see this. Like, this is Pro Football Reference. Pull this up, Paulie, please. You look at Rich Gannon's career log here from 87, and you scroll down, and then all of a sudden you'll see, oh, man, look, late in his career, those little stars right there, those are Pro Bowl appearances. So Rich Gannon ends up going to Oakland. He gets paired with John Gruden, and all of a sudden he becomes a Pro Bowler. And in 2002, Gruden went to Tampa, and Bill Callahan, who was the OC in Oakland, becomes the head coach. And the year Bill Callahan becomes the head coach, Rich Gannon throws for 4,689 yards, 26 touchdowns, 10 picks, wins the NFL MVP in his age 37 season. And the Raiders go to the Super Bowl, and they got blown out by Gruden's Tampa Bay Buccaneers. But that is the outlier for Rich Gannon. He was Derek Carr. He was a starting quarterback. He was a good starting quarterback in the NFL who every now and again had a nice season, but then he got paired up with the right coach. It was the magical unlock, and then he became an All-Pro. He was a two-time first-team All-Pro. And in 2002, he became the NFL MVP, the Offensive Player of the Year. They won the AFC, went to the Super Bowl. But that was an outlier for Rich Gannon. And Bill Callahan was the unlock. The other I'll give you is someone that we all know very well here, and that's Matt Ryan. Matt Ryan, his first-round pick out of Boston College, and was a really good NFL quarterback. Matt Ryan is a Hall of Famer, in my opinion. You may disagree. We can have that debate. But I think Matt Ryan is a Hall of Famer. Matt Ryan started all 234 games in which he played. He threw for 62,000, nearly 63,000 yards in his career. He is at or near the top 10 in all these statistical categories. I think Matt Ryan is a Hall of Famer. He's a stat compiler, but I believe he's a Hall of Famer. And Matt Ryan, in 2010, made a Pro Bowl. He made a couple of Pro Bowls, y'all, during an era where nobody wanted to go to the Pro Bowl. And so the quarterbacks that made the Pro Bowl would opt out and not play, or because they were in the Super Bowl. And so then Matt Ryan would get in, and he was a good player, but was never really like a great player. And then what happened in 2015 and 2016? Kyle Shanahan showed up in Atlanta. And a good starting quarterback in Matt Ryan became an otherworldly quarterback. As a matter of fact, when Kyle Shanahan got hired by the 49ers, Field Yates of ESPN did an interview with the 49ers media, and he was asked point blank, how much credit for Matt Ryan's MVP season in 2016 does Kyle Shanahan deserve?
He certainly catapulted Matt Ryan's play to a new level. And when you have an offensive system that is so multiple, 13 players caught a touchdown pass for the Falcons during the NFL regular season, the most in league history. That right there speaks to a system that puts players in a position to succeed. And Matt Ryan had really one area that he struggled in a major way in 2015, which was red zone turnovers. And those were essentially a thing of the past in 2016. So certainly Kyle Shanahan is someone that I can imagine Matt Ryan would say anytime you ask him this question, just how much he has respect for and just how he believes he contributed to this season's success.
So Kyle Shanahan took a good player, a good starting quarterback in Matt Ryan, and turned him into an NFL MVP. By the way, after Kyle Shanahan left Atlanta, do you know how many more times Matt Ryan made the postseason? 0. After 2016, when they went to the Super Bowl, they went 10-6 in 2017, 7-9, 7-8, 4-12, 7-10. Then he had one season in Indy where they went 4-7-1. Kyle Shanahan was the unlock that took Matt Ryan to a new level. What I am submitting to you is that Klint Kubiak, in that same Kyle Shanahan system, by the way, looks like he is doing for Derek Carr what John Gruden, Bill Callahan did for Rich Gannon in the late 90s, early 2000s, what Kyle Shanahan did for Matt Ryan. They took a starting quarterback in the NFL, a good starting quarterback, but not anyone that people would consider one of the top quarterbacks in the league. And they turned those players into NFL MVPs. And through 2 weeks, and I get it, it's 2 weeks, Derek Carr looks like an MVP candidate. Now, can he do this over 17 games? I don't know. We'll see. I hope so. Am I also terrified that Klint Kubiak is going to be hired to be a head coach next year and then you're going to see a massive regression? Yes, I am, but I'm not focusing on that. I'm focusing on the otherworldly production the New Orleans Saints have had through 2 weeks, even though it is an outlier. I don't care that it's an outlier. Because if Klint Kubiak coming here is elevating Derek Carr's play, is finding a resurgence for Alvin Kamara, is implementing a run scheme that is making Trevor Penning look like an NFL starting offensive tackle, then I will take every beautiful moment that this organization has with Klint Kubiak. Because the one thing I think we all universally agreed on this season about the New Orleans Saints, this offseason, about the New Orleans Saints, was that Klint Kubiak was an excellent hire. They had to move on from Carmichael. And if this keeps up at this pace, the Saints are a contender. Derek Carr is going to be an MVP candidate, and the Saints might be a championship contender again. Long way to go. But I think we are identifying an outlier in MVP history, in NFL history, like we saw with Rich Gannon, with Matt Ryan, and maybe Derek Carr is next in that list. All right, it's After Further Review. Would love your feedback on that. Let me know your thoughts. We're brought to you by our friends over at Shawbill's Tire and Auto Service, shawbillstire.com. Hey, y'all, before I go any further, I want to give a massive, massive shout-out to Miss Beth Barron. So I've told y'all forever, Mr. Charlie opened up Shawbill's back in 1968. His family runs it now. Well, his daughter, Miss Beth, runs Shawbill's. And today, she was named the 2024 National Tire Dealer of the Year. This is a huge, huge honor, and she is so worthy of receiving it. I mean, of all the tire dealers in America, the entire country, Miss Beth was honored today as, I found out this a bit ago, but the article was finally published today, that she was named the National Tire Dealer of the Year. It's very easy to see why, y'all. Name brand tires, wholesale prices, I tell you that all the time, but they treat people like family. Their employees, they treat like family. Their customers. It's just a culture that has been built at Shawbill's that Mr. Charlie started in 1968 that his daughter now carries forward, and it's pervasive with everybody in the company. Yes, we're talking about tires, but everyone wants to be treated like family, to be treated right, to be treated fairly. That's the culture they built at Shawbill's for more than 50 years. And for more than 50 years at Shawbills, we keep you rolling. So congrats to Miss Beth and everyone over there at Shawbills. Okay, let me knock out a quick break. Come back to AFR.
AFR.
Get Gordon, get it done. Oh, Gordon's going to be in studio with us tomorrow. Excited about that. We'll talk some NIL. If you haven't seen the documentary yet on Amazon Prime, the Money Game documentary that they're doing about all the LSU athletes. Of course, Gordon's such a central figure in that because he was really the first to push through with that LSU and their NIL space. So Gordon's been really featuring that. Excited to have G in studio with us tomorrow. Whenever we can get a couple minutes with Gordon, it's always fun, of course, to talk NIL, et cetera. But when we talk about Gordon McKernan injury attorneys, it's so much more than just NIL. I mean, the NIL stuff is fun to talk about, and I know everyone has a great interest in it. But the reason Gordon and his firm exist and have for 30 years and continue to grow is because they help injured people. So no matter what it may be, if it's truck wreck, if it's hit and run, if it's workers' comp, whatever injury you may be dealing with, if you've been injured, it's not your fault. You need representation. Do what injured people in our state have done for more than 30 years. Go to getgordon.com. Get Gordon and get it done.
It's an everyday thing here. We work horses in the mornings and we work on the property during the day, and without these John Deere tractors, it'd almost be impossible to keep up with the place. I've dealt with some of the other colors and stuff, and I never really got the response back that I get from John Deere, We really enjoy dealing with Sunshine. They're good people. They always check on us and make sure our equipment's running, and we love them. Flip the switch and learn more about what it means to be powered by Sunshine at sunequip.com.
Bayou Ford has the new inventory to get you in a new Ford truck or SUV today, or customize your next vehicle just the way you want it. All new Bayou Ford vehicles come with a 1 million mile powertrain warranty. The crew at Bayou Ford is going to do right by you.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
At Atmos Energy, our Smart Choice solutions help customers save energy and emissions with rebates up to $500 off high-efficiency natural gas appliances, smart thermostats, and weatherization upgrades. Together, we're fueling our energy future.
It's no secret. The best oysters in Baton Rouge are at Jolie Pearl Oyster Bar. Enjoy mouth-watering South Louisiana flavor and oysters from all over the country. And don't forget our nightly drink specials. Jolie Pearl Oyster Bar, located in downtown Baton Rouge.
Jerry and Benny Payne began Central Plumbing Company out of their driveway in Tanglewood Subdivision. 50 years later and 4 generations down the road, we continue to serve Baton Rouge and the surrounding areas for all of their plumbing needs. Residential, commercial, industrial, or hospitality, Central Plumbing is here 24/7, 365.
We want to thank our customers, family, and friends for 50 years of success.
And looking forward to 50 more.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644.
After further review, presented by Relief Windows. Windows, doors, siding, and oh yeah, they also do interior shutters.
.1045 ESPN Baton Rouge and Shell are excited to celebrate the 100th anniversary of Tiger Stadium with our Draw to 100 sweepstakes. We're giving you the opportunity to join in the VIP-style celebrations on October 12th for the Ole Miss game. Sign up today at 1045ESPN.com. We'll live stream the drawing on October 10th, and the 100th name will win the Stadium Club seats, sideline passes, and autographed memorabilia. It's the Draw to 100 sweepstakes presented by Shell, the rhythm of Louisiana.
One of the things we'll do every Sunday evening over at LouisianaSports.net. By the way, I got the polo on. For those watching and listening, LouisianaSports.net polo. One thing we'll do every Sunday evening is we'll post the top 5, bottom 5 PFF grades for LSU in their previous game. There's a couple of things I think that stand out here, and I won't delay it. I'll just bury the lead here. I'll run through the highest grades and the lowest grades. And by the way, this is blended, not offense defense. It's just a blended top 5, whether offense defense, and we extract the ones that aren't qualified. So, for example, like Gabe Relaford had 3 snaps at fullback, not including Gabe Relaford in the grades. But the highest grades, highest graded player, how about Jordan Gilbert at safety? What's so interesting about that is Gilbert struggled against USC in the opener, and didn't start. We saw Sage Ryan and Deshaun Spears start against South Carolina. But Gilbert graded out at 82.9, the highest graded LSU player. Caden Durham was the second highest graded LSU player in the game at 82.5. That probably isn't a surprise. Aaron Anderson, 3. Greg Penn, 4. How about Sage Ryan, the 5th highest graded? One of the things that stands out to me when I saw that Sage Ryan grade was how many times we will magnify one play, good or bad. Like Sage Ryan, for example, we just talked about there. Sage Ryan, the standout play was a negative one. The 75-yard touchdown run by Lenora Sellers. If you go back and watch the play, Ahmad Bro's in at tackle. He kind of gets caught up in the pads of the offensive lineman. Whit Weeks blitzes, so there's a hole at the second level. And Sage Ryan was right there in the middle of the field. And he got put on skates, man. Like, I don't care who you are. You have got to at least be able to break down and make that guy slow down. Make him stop, pivot, change direction. Get a shoelace, something to allow the rest of the defense to catch up. So, look, give up a 25-yard run. Don't give up a 75-yard touchdown run. You got to get your hands on the guy. So that was objectively very bad. But Sage Ryan had an overall grade of 72.8. He had an 86.8 pass rush grade, of course, forced a fumble. In coverage, he had a 71.9. You don't need to remember these numbers. Just understand that the thing we've talked about with Sage Ryan throughout his entire career is that his most natural position is safety. He has not been able to play safety his entire career at LSU. Well, we see him there now, and he was the 5th highest graded overall player for LSU among qualifying snaps. So you probably found a home there. And the fact that Jordan Gilbert was your highest rated overall player as well. Gilbert played 25 snaps. This was the other interesting thing. Gilbert played 25 snaps. Sage Ryan played 24 snaps. Remember what Brian Kelly said. They don't have anybody in that secondary that they feel good about playing 65 snaps, so they're going to have to platoon it. Now, the other thing I thought was interesting, Zy Alexander. Zy Alexander, aside from Greg Penn, who played 56 snaps, Braden Swinson, who played 55 snaps, Major Burns played 56 snaps, Whit Weeks, Harold Perkins played every defensive snap, 68 snaps. Other than that, when you look at secondary players, Ashton Stamps played 62 snaps out of 68. Zy Alexander was next at 49. So while Brian Kelly said they don't have anybody back there who they feel like can play 65, 70 snaps, Stamps played almost every defensive snap, but Zy Alexander was next. So they are very clearly identified their 2 best corners, Zy Alexander, Ashton Stamps. And if you can have those 2 guys on the field for the majority of the game, and then at safety, depending on what defense you're in, you rotate, but you feel good about Gilbert, Ryan, getting Spears back there as well, you're coming along and figuring out what your team is. By the way, Brian Kelly on Monday did give an update on Zy Alexander, who left the game in the second half with injury.
Yeah, I mean, I think we look pretty clean. Zy was much more, he lost his wind more than it was anything to do with his knee.
That's great to hear. By the way, I was told that he kind of maybe if he was defending a pass downfield, he came down, maybe kind of hit his head on the turf as well, but still played the second most snaps of any defender in the secondary, which is great to see as they continue to ramp him up. Now, the flip side of that are the lowest graded players. And again, this is all up at LouisianaSports.net if you want to go read the full write-up on all of it. The lowest graded player was DJ Chester at center. He had a holding, he had a false start, he had the errant snap. It was a rough day for DJ Chester. Young guy who's going to have some of those. The good news is the two guards that flanked him, Miles Frazier and Garrett Dellinger, were among your highest graded players. We'll get to more of that in a second. But here's your lowest graded players. Chester, Savion Jones, J.K. Johnson, Josh Williams, uncharacteristically, more on that in a second, and then Xavion Thomas. Those are your 5 lowest graded players on the day for LSU, according to Pro Football Focus. I love that Caden Durham and Aaron Anderson were at the top. Your 3rd highest graded offensive player was Garrett Dellinger, and your 4th highest was Miles Frazier. So when we talk about the day that Chester had in the interior not being a great day, the fact that he's flanked by 2 guards, veteran guards, that played so well. For example, Garrett Dellinger's pass block grade was 88.1. Frazier was 77.6. They were awesome. At right tackle, Emory Jones did not allow a pressure. His pass block grade was 79.8. As a run blocker, though, 57.1. That's where the average came down a bit. And I know you're going to ask about Will Campbell. By far the lowest pass block grade of his career since the opener as a freshman against Florida State. Will Campbell's pass block grade was just a 47. His run block grade was a 64.6. So not a great day for Will Campbell. Not a great day for DJ Chester. Your 2 guards and Emory Jones both were pretty good on Saturday. Hat tip to South Carolina. We knew that was the good-on-good matchup. LSU's pass blocking offensive line against the pass rush from South Carolina. And both teams won some, both teams lost some. I don't worry so much about a lot of those guys because you know they're going to be better. And the other one, of course, that you got to mention is Josh Williams. And Josh Williams, most of the time, is in the game because of his ability to pass block. And it was just one of those days where he had 3 pass block attempts or opportunities, and it just didn't go great. 21.6 was Josh Williams' pass block grade. So, look, I mean, we've talked about that since he showed up on campus for as long as he's been there. One of the reasons Josh Williams keeps getting playing time is the fact that he's been so good. We talk so much about the overtime play against Alabama. I mean, the lunging block he made on Jaden Daniels' touchdown run. You just don't worry about it because you know that's just an exception, not the rule. The rule is he's been so good. It just wasn't awesome for him on Saturday. His pass block grade he had 6 pass block reps. 6 pass block reps. His grade was a 21.6. So it just wasn't a great day, but there'll be better days ahead. I'd rather see that than a young player who you're trying to hope will get better performing poorly. Sometimes you have veterans who there's a large enough sample size that you know what they are that just need to improve. Learn from it on that day, chalk it up as a bad day, that everybody has a bad day. But just a couple of takeaways there. And maybe one of the reasons why you're maybe a little optimistic about the opportunity for this defense to continue to improve, because as Brian Kelly said, look, they shifted a bunch of guys personnel-wise defensively. And they're going to keep developing and hopefully getting better like we've seen the last 2 years. Doesn't mean watching a game where you play so poorly makes it any easier to watch that game, because there was an awful lot of bad on Saturday with LSU South Carolina. But amid all that bad, you overcame a 17-point deficit on the road and came back and won the game. Can you build off of it? We'll see. All right, it's After Further Review. We're brought to you by Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry. LMFJ.com. LMFJ.com for Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry. Gents, getting closer to the holidays. Took Drew to the mall yesterday. It's our little Sunday ritual after the Saints play. There was already Christmas decorations up in some of the department stores. Of course, there's a Lee Michaels right there in the mall as well. 2 locations in Baton Rouge, Mall of Louisiana, and on Corporate Boulevard in Bocage. 9 locations in all. Gents, if you're thinking of popping the question this Christmas, this holiday season, start at Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry. Maybe you're not looking to buy a beautiful diamond ring. They have gifts that start under $1,000. I mean, if you're looking for a beautiful watch, timepiece, pendants, rings, they've got so much necklaces to choose from at Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry. Start at the website, lmfj.com, or just go see our friends at Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry. They do an amazing job of creating buying atmosphere. They want you to feel comfortable walking in. It's something where many of us are inherently uncomfortable because we don't buy jewelry often. We don't want to be pressured to buy something you're not familiar with. You never have to worry about that at Lee Michaels. They do an awesome job creating that Lee Michaels experience. lmfj.com for Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry. All right, been a really good show, y'all. Glad you're hanging out. Otter Locks here in about 15 minutes. Monday Night Football tonight. Eagles, Falcons. We'll see what the Otters got for us. Boy, do we need a bounce back. Rough weekend if you were sports betting with the guys. Jimmy Ott's Football Sunday. It was a bloodbath. Phil Steele did not have a great Saturday after a really good week one. But we'll see how we can bounce back here tonight with Monday Night Football. We'll get to Otter Locks in about 15 minutes from right now. All right, well, I got a quick break. We'll do our college football takeaways. Muse, Paulie, and I, 3 things that we saw this college football weekend. Don't you move. It's AFR.
AFR.
Buying or selling, commercial or residential. You need a realtor. You need the best. You need Darren James. Not my opinion. It's objective fact. Wall Street Journal's list of the top 1% of realtors in America. Darren James. Number 1 in Louisiana, number 13 in the country. That's on the volume side, the number of homes sold. No realtor in Louisiana sold more homes a year ago than Darren James. So why would you call anybody else? How many realtors do daily radio ads promoting their listing, your home? How about this one? On Clinton Allen Road in Denham. Beautiful home. 3-bed, 2-bath, just a hair under 2,000 square feet. Gorgeous curb appeal as well. Check that out. Looks like a little water behind the house as well. Gorgeous. You want to check it out? You can. Call Darren. Ask him about it. Go for that showing today. Agent225.com. That's agent225.com. You need a realtor. You need Darren James.
Think real estate. Think Darren James.
When it comes to ending cancer, we push forward, always working together for you. That's why our cancer experts at Ochsner have clinically integrated with MD Anderson Cancer Center. This means advanced cancer care, including access to life-saving clinical trials and integrating care to treat the whole you. Introducing Ochsner MD Anderson Cancer Center. Long live you.
There it is, the extra mile. On the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Dylan Cruz here to tell you about Six Rings Baseball and Softball Camp. If you live on the North Shore and play ball, go to Six Rings Camps with former LSU assistant coach Dan Canaveri. His knowledge is second to none, and your child will improve and have fun doing it. Camps were held at Coquille Park and Six Rings Academy in Covington with 4 sessions over the summer. Full day and morning only sessions are available from ages 7 to 13. Go to sixringsbaseball.com or call 985-206-9096. Learn the game to love the game.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app is a smart way to manage your money and time. Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
After further review, presented by Relief Windows. Windows, doors, siding, and oh yeah, they also do interior shutters.
All right, college football week 3 in the rear view mirror. This is something that we do here on the show every Monday. Muse, Paulie, and I look back at the college football weekend. We give you 3 college football takeaways. Hit it, Muse.
Another week in the books. What did we learn about the landscape of college football?
All right, Muse, fire away.
All right, so I think preseason, right?
Yep.
At least most people tabbed Utah as just the prohibitive favorite to win the Big 12.
That's true.
And I think Kansas State has thrown their hat firmly in that ring. That was impressive what just happened. Look, obviously, you're losing Will Howard. He goes to Ohio State. You got to replace a lot. Chris Kleiman's a great coach. When you look at what just happened there, they're coming off a game at Tulane where arguably they should have lost. Like, Tulane outplayed them. Then you come back on a short week. You're facing Arizona, a top 20 team with a great quarterback in Noah Fifita, and Kansas State just completely houses them. 31-7. It's the most impressive win by a Big 12 team so far. Not so fast on all the Utah hype early.
Paulie.
I think Texas is in good hands at quarterback. So we all saw Quinn Ewers left the game against UTSA due to an abdominal strain. So in goes Arch Manning. He took over in the second quarter and threw for 223 yards, 4 touchdowns, ran it for 53 yards, and another score.
Yeah. How about his wheels, too?
What is that, 20 miles an hour? Something
Crazy.
like that?
Clearly, the athleticism skipped a generation in the Manning.
Yeah.
I would say so.
Yeah.
Ewers is currently considered questionable, and if Manning did get the start, it will be his first of his career.
I guess I'll be the one to say it. Billy Napier, of course, is done in Florida. We probably already knew this, but they get blown out at home against Texas A&M, who was playing a backup quarterback. Marcel Reed was pretty good for the Aggies, threw for 178 and 2 scores. Le'Veon Moss ran for 110 in that game. Florida got the doors blown off of him. Napier was booed. Boosters on Sunday apparently got the buyout money together. It's only a matter of it's not if, but when on Billy Napier, and the question starts to become who might be next. Could it be Lane Kiffin in Gainesville? That will be fascinating as it might unfold.
Speaking of Marcel Reed at Texas A&M, got a quarterback competition now?
No.
You sure? Connor Wegman stinks. And you had a freshman go on the road in the SEC, not turn the ball over, be very efficient at the quarterback position, throw for 179 yards, and help lead your offense to a dominating win. I only bring that up as well because I think it's interesting to get caught up in it. Everyone was riding high with DJ Lagway, and he was bad on Saturday when he wasn't playing Samford. So just file it away. But Connor Wegman, from what you've seen from him, compared to what you saw from Marcel Reed, let's see what happens.
Florida State is toast.
Yeah.
They fought a Mike Norvell's old squad in Memphis. They lose 20-12. Last season, we were all making the case for them to make the college football playoff after they went undefeated.
Last season. They should have last season.
Yeah.
They should have last season.
This year, it's been horrendous quarterback play, bad coaching, poor offensive line, inconsistencies all over. Florida State is now the first team ranked in the top 10 to a preseason AP to lose to. Let me start over.
You right, dog?
Florida State is now the first team ranked in the top 10 of the preseason AP poll to lose its first 3 games of the season to unranked opponents.
Georgia better do something about them slow starts. Started slow against Clemson. Obviously, they ended up winning 13-12 against Kentucky. I'm not going to push the panic alarm on Georgia. I still think they're the best team in college football with respect to Texas. We've just seen Georgia do it until someone unseats them. But a week from Saturday, Georgia's off this weekend, and then they go to Tuscaloosa, where I am counting on them to blow the doors off of the Crimson Tide inside of Brian Dennehy Stadium at Nick Saban Field so I can do another Bama is Burning. Like, I'm already formulating my Bama is Burning. I need Georgia not to go and pussyfoot around. Like, I don't need them to go and tread lightly and get in a game in Tuscaloosa. I need them to go to Tuscaloosa and pile drive Kalen DeBoer in Alabama to prove how giant, how seismic the gap is between the two programs and how far Alabama is from championship contention. Georgia, wake up.
Damn it, Vanderbilt. We all
God
believed
dog
in
it,
you.
Vandy.
We
This was
all
your shot.
believed in you,
And
Vandy.
it looked like they were going to do it.
They were looking great. 22-point fourth quarter comeback. You just flat run out of time, though, at the end.
No, they took the lead.
Yeah,
They took the lead and then gave up the lead.
And then ran out of time.
You got to get a stop.
22-point fourth quarter. It was a great
How do you know
comeback.
they were losing.
I know.
They rally, take the lead. It looks like they're going to win. And then the defense gives up the damn game. Get a stop. It's Georgia, Southern Georgia State. Georgia's one of the Georgias.
The point
One of
is
the Blue
here,
Georgias.
Vandy could have surpassed their win total.
I know.
And now they have to go to Missouri. And then they have to play Alabama after that.
Where's the win? You show it to me.
At Ball State, maybe. I mean, at Kentucky's not going to be easy. They got to play Texas, LSU, Tennessee.
Okay, they get Ball State.
But, Matt, they couldn't beat Georgia State.
That was on the road. Hey, you don't just walk into Atlanta and beat
Yes,
Georgia
you
State.
do.
No, you don't.
Yes, you
just
do.
walk in there. And
You
beat,
do
and
if
beat,
you're not Vanderbilt.
What's Georgia State's mascot?
The Panthers.
You don't just walk into Georgia State and beat the Panthers.
I don't know. Plenty of people beat teams with the mascot Panthers these days.
No, you don't.
Damn it, Vandy. We all believed in you.
How about the MAC with another upset winner? After last week, Northern Illinois shocked Notre Dame. This week, it was the Toledo Rockets totally dominating Mississippi State. Toledo racked up over 450 yards and 5 touchdowns. They win 41-17. The Bulldogs were penalized 8 times. Mississippi State had 2 turnovers, sacked 5 times. Mississippi State falls to 1-2.
So what Notre Dame did this weekend?
I did see what Notre Dame did this weekend.
66-7. They beat Purdue. 66-7.
66-7.
Where's the next loss on the schedule? They completely grabbed the throat. They lay down against Northern Illinois. It's inexcusable. They're for real. Where's the loss? They did lose 2 linemen, by the way, for the season. That could be a problem, but I don't know where the loss is. All right, there you have it. There's our What to Watch, brought to you by First South Farm Credit, firstsouthland.com, firstsouthland.com. You're thinking of buying land, your first call should be to First South Farm Credit, firstsouthland.com, firstsouthland.com. First South Farm Credit, they've been first in agriculture for more than 100 years. Look, if you're a farmer, every farmer knows what First South Farm Credit is. What you may not know, though, is you live in New Orleans, or you maybe have lived in New Orleans, raising a family now, thinking about moving to the North Shore. You're going to commute. You want to buy those 20 acres in Tangipahoa Parish to build your dream home. They can help you do it at First South Farm Credit. Remember, they can help you buy land in any of the 48 contiguous states. It's First South Farm Credit with branches in Louisiana, Mississippi, Alabama, and they can help you buy land anywhere. So you want that 20 acres in St. Francisville. You want the 200 acres of hunting property in Mississippi. You want to go buy a ranch in Montana. They can help you do it. First South Farm Credit. firstsouthland.com. That's firstsouthland.com. All right, y'all. Been a great show, man. If you missed anything, AFR On Demand presented by Breck Golf. Book your teatimegolf.breck.org. Our conversation with Scott Shanle, former State linebacker last hour. Conversation last hour with Peter Burns, who literally almost died. I thought he was joking, but no, he went about 2 minutes without breathing at a restaurant in Columbia, Missouri. 4 different people had to perform the Heimlich on him, and he wrote about it all on Twitter and shared that experience with us last hour as well. My thoughts on LSU beating South Carolina, Saints beating the Cowboys, all up on YouTube as well. If you want to check it out, just search AFR LSU, AFR Saints on YouTube. It's all there for you. We appreciate you. Okay, final break. Otter Locks next. Who we betting on? Falcons, Eagles tonight on Monday Night Football. That's next, AFR.
After further review.
Love telling you about Rouse's, the official supermarket of the New Orleans Saints. And, of course, Rouse's was here for us, for Francine, as they have been for our communities for 100 years now. Whenever the storm was threatening, Rouse's was stocking up on water, on toilet paper, on all the essentials, and helping our communities make it through the storm like they've done for 100 years. Rouse's.com, Rouse's.com. Rouse's, they are, of course, the official supermarket of the New Orleans Saints, and they have been an awesome partner of ours here as well. They're your official home for Eagle 98.1 Game Day, for Tiger Game Day as well. That's where Hanny and Muse are before every LSU game, as they're knocking out Eagle 98.1 Game Day. So if you're watching the Tigers or the Saints, you need all your stuff to throw on the grill, the chips, the dips, the sides. Maybe you're tailgating and you want all those tailgate trays. Another Tiger home game this week. You don't want to cook? Don't worry. Rouse's can take care of it for you. All your different party platters and trays for tailgating or your home watch party, it's at Rouse's. the official supermarket of the New Orleans Saints. Rouses.com. Rouses. This feels like home.
Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram has back-to-school savings like $16,000 off 25 Ram 1500 trucks. We're open for business in our beautiful new showroom and taking $16,000 off. All new Bayou vehicles come with a complimentary extended warranty. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
It's an everyday thing here. We work horses in the mornings and we work on the property during the day, and without these John Deere tractors, it'd almost be impossible to keep up with the place. I've dealt with some of the other colors and stuff, and I never really got the response back that I get from John Deere, We really enjoy dealing with Sunshine. They're good people. They always check on us and make sure our equipment's running, and we love them. Flip the switch and learn more about what it means to be powered by Sunshine at sunequip.com.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary, for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
When it comes to ending cancer, we push forward, always working together for you. That's why our cancer experts at Oshner have clinically integrated with MD Anderson Cancer Center. This means advanced cancer care, including access to life-saving clinical trials and integrating care to treat the whole you. Introducing Oshner MD Anderson Cancer Center. Long live you.
Electricity is all around us, and our families depend on it. Every day is sparked by the power of a cold drink or a warm meal, a movie night, and a comforting light at the end of a dark hallway. From sunrise to sunset, playtime to bedtime, our team is ready to take care of your electrical needs. Even in the case of an after-hours emergency, the light in your life shines brighter with Mr. Electric.
After further review, presented by Relief Windows. Windows, doors, siding, and oh yeah, they also do interior shutters.
Down the stretch we come, final segment here, Monday edition of AFR, presented by Relief Windows. Love telling you about our friends over at Relief Windows. Remember to ask about their indoor shutters as well. Their interior shutters are gorgeous. Make your home more energy efficient, beautify, increase the resale value. It's Relief Windows and reliefwindows.com. All right, let's find out what we're betting on tonight. Time for Otter Locks.
Otter Locks.
All right, time to win some money.
Presented by Lofton Staffing Services. At Lofton, we put people to work. Call us today at 924-0200 or go to lofton.jobs.
I think it's safe to say that I won the bet.
Came out the gate scorching week 1, week 2. Let's get it right here on Monday Night Football. Otter, how are you?
Sunday, bloody Sunday, baby. Hey, just you two war.
It will test your mettle as a sports bettor when those inevitably roll around.
Yeah, man. It was a day for the house, which I tend to be on that side, but not yesterday. So. Good football Friday at 4-1, but I led the charge on the anchor. Everybody else kind of spun their wheels, but I went 0-5 yesterday in the NFL. So we're trying to bounce back tonight. Let's get to Major League Baseball. And remember Seth Lugo went to your Yankees and shut them down pretty much like 17 straight. He's on the hill tonight. They're 4 behind the Cleveland Guardians for the division. They're 2.5 in front of the Twins for the wild card. I mean, this is a soft price at home. Take Kansas City and Lugo minus the number against Detroit tonight.
Looking at 135.
All right, Philadelphia going to Milwaukee. And I like that number, by the way. I've seen as high as 150 on that. Philadelphia on the road, Suarez against Savali. Savali's the weakest link of this Milwaukee rotation of Suarez. Since he's been back, he's been pretty good. I'm going to go with the run line in this one. I think they can get a lot of runs off of Milwaukee tonight. Minus the 1.5 is plus 155 in that range.
Looking at plus 160 right now, DraftKings.
There you go. Okay. And then a parlay, Skeens first 5, Pittsburgh, which is, boy, it's high, but still like 50. And then the Mets at home. Sean Manaea, I mean, one little rough spot. He was pretty much done with his career a couple of years ago. He has resurrected it. He's come back. He's found a new pitch, and he's been really good for the Mets, minus that one little start. Them at home against the Nationals. So Skeens first 5, Mets money line parlay.
Mets. So I'm looking at Mets laying $1.98. Is that right? So coming back at plus 136.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. We got anything on Monday Night Football?
Tonight, man, a little desperate spot maybe for the Falcons. Going to take the ball. What are you seeing? What line are you looking at right now?
5.5.
5.5. This is all the tickets are on the Eagles, but the line is going down. This was similar to the Cincinnati-Kansas City game yesterday. So a lot of the sharp action, and let me tell you, the sharp action got ripped this weekend, okay? It wasn't a good weekend for him. But we're going to stay with it. We're going to go with the Dogs tonight, plus the 5.5 with the Falcons.
All right, we'll go plus 5.5 with Atlanta. By the way, there is a DraftKings boost there if you want to take advantage of it. It's a
1 minute remaining.
It's a 50% boost on that game tonight. So if you want to take advantage of it,
man, you should have been at the Queen yesterday for the Saints Cowboys game. That place was wild.
Let's go.
I mean, it was wild, man. I mean, they were going nuts in there. So a lot of Saints, a lot of Cowboys fans, man, they were giving it back to each other. It was fun.
Otter, where are you tomorrow?
We're at Doe's Eat Place on Government Street, in the heart of Mid-City.
Sounds good. Thanks, Otter. Good luck.
All right, good luck.
All right, be well. Brought to you by Michelli Weighing and Measurement. Before we get out of here, Michelli.com. More than 30 offices across a dozen different states. Tell you all the time, you weigh or measure something at Michelli. They sell, service, rent the products you use to weigh and measure. It's Michelli Weighing and Measurement. They're just the best. Check out the website for a list of all their services. You get a great sense of what they do. It's Michelli Weighing and Measurement, Michelli.com, Michelli.com. Muse, Paulie, thanks. Y'all have an awesome night. We'll see you tomorrow at 3.
After further review.
Okay, y'all, Supper Club closed tonight. Closed on Monday. They closed Sunday, Monday. Reopened Tuesday. Pretty fired up. Told you last week on Thursday, they decided to kind of have sort of this Supper Club-style hurricane party when they reopened. And so they popped a bottle of Chateau Margaux, which, if you're not familiar, it's a vineyard that's 500 years old in France. They popped a bottle of 2014 Chateau Margaux. It's on the menu in the wine library. It's a $3,700 bottle of wine. Well, they ended up selling it for $50 an ounce. This is very common with whiskey as well. So people will, you may never buy the full bottle, but you'll go spend $50 to be able to sample it, to taste it, to say you tried it. And it was such a success. They went through 2.5 bottles last week at Supper Club. So they're going to be doing that every Thursday. So I'll look forward to getting you that wine list as it comes to make plans. But hey, we got another home game this weekend for LSU. You want to be part of a football Friday night? Make it Supper Club. Reservations, supperclubbtr.com.
Bayou Ford has the new inventory to get you in a new Ford truck or SUV today. Or customize your next vehicle just the way you want it. All new Bayou Ford vehicles come with a 1 million mile powertrain warranty. The crew at Bayou Ford is going to do right by you.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Hey. Parish Construction and Roofing.
Hello, Kim Mulkey here. When I have construction and roofing needs, I call my friend Ryan Terrio and the Parish Construction and Roofing team. I sleep good at night because I know the Parish team has my back. Go to parishbuilt.com for all of your roofing needs. And remember, always do business with someone you know.
Parish Built.